guys, it is time for some news. And guess what? The main news that practically everyone in Europe just couldn't stop talking about, I guess, it is the supposed Ceuta invasion, where a little over 50,000 migrants from North Africa, mostly Morocco, crossed into Spain. Da 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 da. Is what I would be saying if I was part of the international right wing, network of influence. Because, guys, the way they were talking about this shit on the news made me think that these people had swam across the Strait of Gibraltar. I was like, well, damn, if they swam that far, just let them have it. Let them stay. Fuck it. Meanwhile, and then I started reading the news and I was like, oh, this is on not even on the European continent. It's not within the Schengen cooperation. This is just insanity. So we're gonna definitely talk about it, because if anything, this situation has shown very clearly that there is absolutely an international network of right-wing allies that whenever anything happens that could be beneficial for them to pounce on and make their own framing and propaganda and actions based on that, they will. Of course, Spain being Spain, they're not, the biggest friends with the United States, and thus all of the U.S. allies really faced a lot of condemnation. Although there was also a lot of, European leaders, whatever, that were supportive of Spain. So, it's not just fully one thing or the other. But I think it's just, we're going to dive into it because there is just so much to talk about. Let's see here. So, yes, we are going to talk about, of course, the fake Ceuta invasion. We're going to talk about how right-wing EU leaders really took this chance to spread a whole bunch of lies, condemning Sanchez and Spain and all of the socialism that Spain is doing. And let's see here. And with the second half of the stream, or last part of the stream, we're also going to talk about the, Trump Board of Peace Gaza deal that was announced, also at the end of last week. But Israel is still bombing Gaza. So, there's really a lot to get to. Probably, for the most part, we're going to talk about Ceuta crossing situation. But of course, as per usual, say stuff in the chat. Hey, I want you guys to interact. So say stuff in the chat, follow. Also, you can follow me on Instagram. You can follow my YouTube VOD channel, all that good stuff. So yeah, guys, I think here we'll go. Also, I want to add one more thing before we dive into it, because I want one thing to be crystal fucking clear, right? The people that swam to the pier in Ceuta, which was just around the corner, they are not your enemy, right? They are told lies just like you are told lies. The real villains are the EU politicians, and, even the US president that, and, right-wing media that use a situation like this, to frame everything as socialism bad because of migration. Let me tell you, those people that tried to do the crossing got lied to as well. They got lied to by trafficking groups or social media channels that this is something that they could do due to a Supreme Court decision, not the Spanish government's decision to regularize 500,000 undocumented migrants. Those two things, the Supreme Court decision and the regularization process, are two different things, okay? And we, just as much as the people that tried to cross, are being told lies about it. And why are we being told lies about it? Why is so much division being sowed? Well, because the United States benefits from a divided Europe, okay? All these right-wing allies of Donald Trump, they pretty much want to destroy European cohesion. They want to destroy the European strength that is, Europe being stronger as a unified market. Europe being stronger because of its internal open borders. Europe being stronger because we have healthcare options, because we have the ability to create jobs for people. And Trump hates Sanchez in particular because Spain is doing like the minimum of what a government should do to speak out um, for its people, right? It's representing its people's interests. And whether that is speaking out against genocide or not letting Spanish military bases be used for the US Israeli war on Iran, or whether that is literally for creating half of all jobs in Europe. So the right, and regardless of whether that is politicians, think tanks, or the media, they will do whatever they can to smear this politician, smear the government, and that's the lie that we're being told, right? Again, just as the people that try to cross are being told lies by trafficking groups or other criminal organizations. And so I think we owe it to ourselves to take all of this in and not go ahead and join the villainization, and actually stand up for Europe by saying the United States and all of these right-wing politicians do not represent us. They really don't. A strong Europe is a cohesive, um, you know, a strong Europe is a Europe that's together, not a Europe that's divided because of American interests, because of fucking Israeli influences. That's really not the Europe I want to live in. So I just wanted to say that right at the start, because that will really, hopefully, set the tone for what I believe in and what I want to talk about to you guys. All right, diving into it, guys. Lock in. Right. So we're just gonna dive into it, because again, there's just so much to get to. We're going to go through it step by step, because I think most of you guys probably heard bits and pieces about the situation. But again, I just want to touch on some of the main elements that I think is really important to understand clearly. So let's see here. I have my notes. I spent all afternoon on this shit, guys, reading so many news articles, making notes, reading it again, talking to my friends about it, reading it out loud, talking to my friends in Spain about it, or my friend in Spain about it. But yeah, long story short, anywhere between 50,000 to 60,000 people crossed from Morocco and made their way, from Morocco made their way to Ceuta, which is Spanish territory. It's a Spanish enclave in Africa, right? In Morocco. This is not on the European continent. These people, like I said, they didn't cross the Strait of Gibraltar, which if they did, I feel like that should automatically qualify them, but that's neither here nor there. And after that, we just saw an explosion of right-wing media, politicians, everyone jumping on it and fear-mongering. And as of Friday evening, and I think Saturday, most people, if not everyone, has been returned. With, at the end of the day, there being a death toll of, right now, at least 67 people confirmed that didn't make it. And this includes both people that drowned and people that were killed or died due to the stampedes that happened. So very sad, I was reading stories about, people being interviewed, and again, this is young people that we're talking about. This is young people that they don't have a chance to develop a cool, interesting, secure future. These are people that want to be teachers. These are people that just want a job, but they just don't have any future prospects in Morocco. And so, if you mobilize these people with some lie that spreads on social media or because they are told certain things by trafficking groups, this is what happens. And I'm sure we'll get into all of the other interest groups that might push this as well. But yeah, that's just the the what of the situation, like what happened. And for now, I want to focus on a couple different things, like the internal tensions in Europe, like with the Italian suspension of the Schengen cooperation. I want to talk about how America has been reacting to it, because it has really been used for like the American debate about American border security, and I think that's just insane and typical, very typical. And let's see. Yeah, so we'll get to all of it. Let's just start off with this one.
Italy has
Sorry, actually, I don't. Let's start off with something else. Sorry for the confusion. Let's start here.
As a migrant
Audio
crisis
is very low, I think. Give me a second. It's low for you guys and it's low for me.
grows in Ceuta,
Huh?
Spain says it will
There we
boost a
go.
security deployment
Whoa,
to
whoa.
the territory. As a migrant crisis grows in Ceuta, Spain says it will boost a security deployment to the territory. Officials say tens of thousands of migrants coming by land and sea breached the frontier with Morocco. Most have returned. In a visit to the city, the Spanish Prime Minister condemned the breach of the border after he met with local authorities and the security forces that are deployed there.
Ceuta is a Spanish city, and what happened yesterday deserves our strongest possible rebuke and condemnation. We reject.
Man, this guy has really been getting put through the ringer. I'm surprised he looks this fresh, dude, because this guy, I mean, on the one hand, the fucking wildfire situation that is also very heavily impacting Spain has been ongoing. And then he has just been fucking smeared after smear after smear with like, you know, fucking news stories about corruption, like his wife and his brother and all of this shit. And it's like so clearly, you know, billionaires and just, again, the international right wing network doing their best to bring this guy down in popularity. Because if you look at the facts, he is objectively putting Spain in a better position. Spain's economy is growing. Spain's creating new jobs. They are doing their best to protect their social services. Like, Spain is doing good in comparison to a lot of other European countries. Like, even a country like Germany. Like, it's not on the same level to compare, but all the news stories we see coming out of Germany are like factories closing, tens of thousands, 100,000 jobs being lost, which is not of the like net difference, but that's the stories we're hearing coming out of Germany, like austerity, cuts, all of that. Spain seems to be leaning in a very different direction because of their, you know, redistributive politics, the focus on, you know, the government executing government responsibilities, and then the autonomous zones, you know, the smaller regions within Spain, focusing on their responsibility. Which, you know, you can argue that some are doing not as good. But yeah, that man, this guy, again, I'm by no means like the biggest Pedro Sanchez fan, but we need Pedro Sanchez's, right? We need this and then some. Like, this is like the bare minimum of what we need our European leaders to be doing. Like, give me Jean-Luc Mélenchon, give me Zach Polanski, give me Pedro Sanchez. Like, we need a strong international left coalition, in the same way that the right wing is coordinated on an international scale. But I do think, I really wonder what's going to be the fallout from this, because, you know, Sanchez sent out a letter to Ursula von der Leyen and some other European political leaders, talking about, we'll get to it, but, you know, just talking about how this is incredibly, let me see here in my notes. Yeah, he has just called out the European Union for, you know, being selfish, polarizing, and having unlawful reactions. And in that way also called for a meeting with EU interior ministers. So, yeah, this is definitely not over yet. There's still a lot that Pedro Sanchez wants to address, and I think that's good. Like, I cannot believe that that the United States has this much pull in Europe. Definitely not a majority, but in these times they were so coordinated. It's insane.
Condemn and regard as deplorable the violation and attack on the territorial integrity of a Spanish city.
The journey resulted in dozens of deaths. Some migrants drowned, while others were killed in a stampede to cross the breakwater fence at a nearby beach. Some trying to cross say they were drawn by possible asylum in the European Union.
Most of these people were at work yesterday when suddenly they heard that the border had been opened, that some young people managed to cross, and so everyone ended up here.
While it is unclear what triggered the mass influx, Sanchez cast blame on criminal groups and human smugglers, saying they deceive young people and ultimately lead them to their deaths. Among reactions was one from Rome, which says it is suspending the EU's border-free Schengen arrangements with Spain. France, meanwhile, said it would strengthen its border checks with its neighbor.
Speak to Moroccan.
Yeah, so that's insane. And it's like, I feel like recent times we really saw Meloni kind of put forth, like the Italian leader, we saw Meloni really put forth this image of like, hey, when it comes down to it, I can stand my ground against Trump. Like, we really saw that vibe from her. But this just shows you, like, sure, yapping is one thing, but if it's in a situation like this and it's an opportune moment to do something like temporarily suspend the Schengen cooperation, that shows you without a shadow of a doubt where her interests lie, and that is with the United States and its continuous attempt to break Europe apart. So yeah, fucking insanity. And I mean, this video right here, Ceuta 2026 dwarfs 2021 migration crisis, and that was like also a situation where that was kind of in the pandemic era, where Spain had received this like leader from the West Saharan, I don't remember exactly, but they received like a important figure from that movement to get like COVID treatment or something like that. And in that situation, the Moroccan government also like really loosened up some like migration restrictions, causing them to like, here, fuck you guys. So this has happened before, but yeah, let's just watch this video.
Journalist Aida Alami. Her work has appeared in the New York Times, the Columbia Journalism Review, and more. She joins us from Tangier. Hello to you, Aida. Just curious, I mean, we've seen the way politicians in Europe have made this an issue to tighten borders in the Schengen zone, which is very far from what this situation is in North Africa. Tell us a little bit about how it's being covered in Morocco.
I think the most notable thing about it here is that we're not getting any clear or reaction at all from the states and the government here, where Moroccans are getting mostly informed from Spanish authorities and whatever the Spanish government is putting out. So it's really hard to really know what happened from this side of the border.
Yeah, and one of the questions here is often, is it Spanish immigration?
Yeah, that's also kind of interesting. I mean, from, again, the reporting that I had been reading, I hadn't seen anything specifically like comments from Morocco as a government. So, but yeah, there are precedents. There are precedents, and of course, Morocco is a close ally to the United States. Not so friendly with Algiers, friendly with Israel. So, we can kind of see interest-wise who they would be more closely aligned to.
Migration policy? Is it EU policy? Is it Moroccan authorities that are contributing to this crisis? How do you see the way this influx, what triggered it?
So there are a lot of speculations, a lot of theories going around. I personally am careful about stating all these speculations as facts. I know that many people were quoted as having been encouraged by Moroccan authorities to cross. I don't know if that was really a manufactured crisis by the Moroccan government, especially that it happened during Throne Day, and then after that, we had a big holiday on Friday. Most of the all of the government, everyone that matters politically, including the king and generals and the army, were in the same spot close to the border. I have a hard time imagining that they manufactured a crisis during such an important holiday. That being said, I think the focus should really be about why so many Moroccans want to leave. Last year we had
Very true. And I also just wanted to add there at the end of what she was saying that, is the Moroccan government to blame? Is the Moroccan royal to blame? Something that Pedro Sanchez verbalized, and that is, again, a really important distinction to make, because the right wing certainly loves conflating the two and pretending that they are the same, is that one decision was the Spanish government regularizing 500,000 undocumented migrants who are already working, who were already living in Spain. They were regularized, period. On the other hand, there was a decision by the Spanish Supreme Court, and the decision by the Spanish Supreme Court had to do with if sorry, some crazy noise outside. The decision by the Spanish Supreme Court had to do with if migrants are caught at sea or they come in swimming, they cannot be sent back without being processed. That's it. That's the Supreme Court decision. The Spanish government's decision was about the undocumented migrants already working in the country, and they just wanted to regularize it so that really loud stuff outside. And the Spanish government decision was just to kind of regularize the workers that are already there. These are two different things. Pedro Sanchez says that the decision that the Supreme Court made was falsely explained to, incorrectly, falsely, probably intentionally so, explained to Moroccan people by trafficking groups that, hey, now it's open doors, now you can just go in. And this is just not the case, right? And so even if the authorities directly didn't spread this news, whatever, it did go around, and it probably started with this misinterpretation and potentially intentional misinterpretation of the Supreme Court decision.
massive protests of Gen Z people.
But yes, going into what she's explaining right now, absolutely. Because if there's one thing you are reading time and time again, is that, look at this. This is all young people. This is young people that have no future prospects, right? Like, we are struggling over here. They're struggling over there too, right? They don't have future prospects. They want to become teachers. They want to become useful members of society. And there's no options, right? Barely making minimum wage. And it's a really hard life. So that's what they're up against. And when they hear something like this, that gives them a shred of hope, they might just make the decision to go for it. Their families might support them to make this decision, because it means that maybe there is a way for you to have a better future.
Testing unemployment, economic hardships, and their demands were met with repression and jailing of these protesters who were just asking for better opportunities. Unemployment among the youth is huge. People just don't see a perspective, and that's why they want to leave. And I think it's important to keep the focus on that, especially that the number that crossed, yes, it looked.
Also, I will say, and this is something that was also kind of reported on with pictures, I will say, I wonder also what because, you were showing the way this kid was coming down the mountain, and this guy, the way he was,
especially that the
receiving him. Like, they were talking, right? They were communicating about the situation. And honestly, from what I was seeing, the reporting, or like the pictures and all that stuff that was being reported, it, for the most part, really looked like a different type of situation that you might expect. Even though if you saw a situation like this, brown people and then military or, you know, military police people, if you saw them interact in, like, let's say Israel, it would, you know, you would hold your heart. It would be going very differently. But I don't know, man, something about the pictures I've been seeing coming out of this, with the reception of the Red Cross, with the military, it's, you know, it's the security forces doing their best to help these people. Like, you know, what can you do, man? These people were lied to. Some of them drowned. It's a horrible situation. But yeah, I don't know. Seeing those pictures of people being carried or treated with a basic level of respect, it's like, it's crazy how different that is than to what we're used to seeing in other situations where, you know, military or whatever has to step up and be present. Like, this almost gives you, like, I mean, whatever. Just wanted to make the comment on that.
It looks big. The images are, you know, are really unprecedented, but at the same time, making it to Ceuta doesn't mean being able to go into the Schengen area at all. People still need to show a visa to go to mainland Europe. And everyone is back in Morocco today.
Yeah, and unless I'm mistaken, the way Morocco is classified as a country, a lot of asylum requests from Morocco to the EU are often rejected because they see EU as a stable country where there aren't threats worth fleeing. Does that need to be reassessed or re-examined, in your opinion?
I think what needs to be addressed is why do people want to leave so badly? And it's not because their dream is to gamble with their lives trying to cross. It's really because they're not finding at home a way to live with dignity, to provide for their families and
Fantastic reporting. Let's
children,
finish
or to
listening.
even see a future for themselves. So as long as that's the case, yes, they're not fleeing conflict, they're not fleeing yet climate change, but they're still fleeing the impossibility to see a future for themselves.
And yeah,
Fantastic reporting, and I'm glad this is out there, but you know, this is exactly the way we need to be talking about this situation. Like, all of the, you know, I mean, all of this, like, Fox News fear mongering is so not what we need. Like, this whole bullshit about firebrand Republican unloads on socialist prime minister as hordes of military-aged men swarm European country. Actually, I should really lay it on thick with, like, a American accent. Firebrand Republican unloads on socialist prime minister as hordes of military-aged men swarm European country. Oh my god. Like, this is not how we need to be talking about this situation. Like, the way this lady has just talked about it, this reporter, Aida Al-Ami, New York Times world contributor, it's exactly right. No one wants to gamble their life, right? And the people that drowned, they went because they thought that they had no other choice in the place that they were living. And that means that they, like, young people, if young people are that desperate, that means that the country needs to fundamentally change, right? Like, this is abuse. This is not just abuse of, like, young people. This abuse exists in all facets of that system in the country. Like, if a system is, you know, only able to exist and causes misery to all those that live in that country, it is not a good system, right? It's only holding up the wealthy and whatever other people in power. It's definitely not helping the average everyday person. And again, like she said, even not taking into account what climate change might change in the future for this situation. So yeah, absolutely. This is good reporting, and this is what we need. And we don't need this shit. Certainly not.
any idea what's going to happen to these some 45,000 people that have returned to Morocco? What fate awaits them?
Well, yesterday I drove by the border, and a lot of people were just kind of sitting defeated on the sidewalks, and some locals were giving them water and some food. And
Aww. I don't know, man. I'm, like, really not trying to glamorize or be romantic about this situation, but, like, Man, it feels so bad, man. These are clearly just people trying their best. These are young kids. These are young kids. I guess, I don't know how old the military guy is, but, I'm just so used to seeing a guy like this in the United States, like beating up citizens, or a guy dressed like this in Israel, like threatening to shoot a child. Like, seeing them be like remotely helpful within the situation, I'm like, wow. But still, this is just such a horrific situation. Again, 67 people died, at least. That's incredibly sad. And a lot of people also won't be able to tell the people back home or anything like that. So sad.
Some locals were giving them water and some food. And I think they're just going to make their way back home. And I also, on my drive from Tangier to Ceuta, I saw a lot of people walking back. So I think they're just going to go back. I think there was a lot of misinformation online that if they made it through the border, they would be granted instant asylum, and that's what triggered the massive push factor of
all these people doing a peace sign to the camera, dude. I can. These are normal people. These are decent people, and I won't let right-wing idiots tell me anything else. These are just normal ass people that, maybe you had the luck to be born somewhere geographically where you have a decent life, and some kind of idea about what your future will hold. But these are people just like you with different kind of luck, right? But these are, oh goodness, these are just normal people.
all these people trying to cross.
Yeah, and for our audience that might not be familiar with Ceuta,
Chat, I don't know
what
if there's anyone in the chat, but what do you guys think? What do you think, chat? Like, what do you guys think of this? I think it's insanity. And again, like I said, I will not stand for the dehumanization and the other, like, straight up lies being told about this situation. So that's why I'm just being so crystal clear and direct about it, because I don't want anyone to be confused. Okay, chat? We're not gonna get confused. We're gonna stay on top of the truth. That's what we are.
What is it like from the
truth,
Moroccan side
uplift
of
the
things?
truth.
Is there tension with having Ceuta there, and how far back does that tension go? And is it possible that it would be relieved at any point?
Well, there are always frictions and tensions between Morocco and Spain over regional politics. But I mean, Morocco that considers Ceuta occupied territory. I mean, I wouldn't call it a huge escalation like we saw in 2021, where I think Morocco really manufactured the crisis. I think so. In 2021, about 10,000 people crossed over to Ceuta, and that was a clear manufacturing of crisis by the Moroccan government. This time, I think it's more that despite all the money that the EU pours into Morocco to police the borders, maybe it's just not working anymore, and all these. This militarization of borders and this policing of borders can get also overwhelmed.
Aida, thank you so much for your time. Aida Alami joining us from Tangier. Thank you.
All right. I kind of laughed when I saw the Fox News. Yeah, so let's dive into the Fox News. Wait, let me see here. Actually, let's stick a little bit more with the European. Actually, no. Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's dive into the Fox News talking about this, because again, like I said, Fox News had some words. Fox News had some words, or minced no words. Let me put it that way. Fox News minced no words in talking about the situation. Calling this a horde of military-aged men swarming European country. Like, all of this is just such utter dehumanizing language. And again, specifically to attach this, fear and oh my goodness, what is happening to the idea of socialism, right? That's the name of the game for Fox News and for a lot of right-wing media. So let's dive into it. I think this is this is Fox and Friends, so we're going to have a bit of a panel here.
Officers tried to stop us, but our will.
Oh, shit. My bro is speaking in English. Let's see what he has to say. Oh, shit.
and our determination.
Yes. Determination.
The police officers tried to stop us, but our will and our determination, we could came here.
Viva España! Viva España! Viva España!
Death toll has risen to 67 after more than 60,000 illegal migrants poured across the Moroccan border into the Spanish territory of Ceuta over the last 2 days. President Trump reacting. Watch this.
You know, I saw Spain. Yes.
Here he comes, guys. Here comes Spain. I mean, this guy's looking like a fucking shit stain in a bathroom after someone ate bad chilies. But he is unfortunately also the president of the United States, so we do have to listen to his words. But just know that that's how I see it. But yeah, of course, here we have Spain's #1 best friend. Just kidding. Fucking Trump hates Spain. So he loves to see this happening, especially because it has to do with migration and this and that. Oh, this is Christmas for him. So, yeah, he's going to have a fun time talking about why all of this is bad and all of this is coming to the United States and yada, yada, yada. We need to close the United States borders as well. Otherwise, this is going to happen, blah, blah, blah.
Yesterday, and I watched the
At Camp David, by the way, this was happening while they were going through the final moments before coming out with the new Board of Peace Gaza deal.
catastrophe that took place. It looks like an invasion of a country by hundreds of thousands of people.
Me when I fucking lie. What do you mean hundreds of thousands of people? That's just not what it I mean, even here it says it's like 60,000. And that's like the upper limit, right? It's like between 50 and 60,000. And he's like, hundreds of thousands. Man, chat, I don't know what to tell you guys, but this... chat, I don't know, man. What do you guys think? What do you think, chat? Chat, is this guy speaking the truth? Is this guy a truthful, peaceful dove? No, he definitely isn't. No, I hate to break
And that
it.
same thing's going to happen to us if the Republicans don't get elected, except worse.
There you go.
Much bigger, much easier to get into. We have the safest border in the world. If we're not in office, our country will be invaded at levels that made Spain look small time.
Former State Department Foreign Service Officer Simon Hankinson joins us now. Thanks for joining us this morning, Simon. Look, I get it that the Spain's open border policies invited this, but I'm still confused about, over a 48-hour period, 60,000 people charged the border. What was it that sparked that invasion?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the conditions have been...
Okay, let's hear the dumbest people in America talk about this, guys. This is gonna be amazing. Oh, hey, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is gonna be on Fox and Friends tomorrow. Isn't that fun? I like how they have all this like funky yellow banners when they're just doing like the devil's work, being absolute demons, talking, you know, just lying, misrepresenting the events, not fact checking the president. Love to see it. Love to see it. This is good, actually.
Been there for a long time. It's not like that fence got any shorter over the past couple of months. Back in 2021, there were 8,000 people who came over in
And whose fault was that? And whose fault was that?
one day, which is close to our record at the southern border of 12,000. And as you say, in pretty much 24 hours, 60,000 people made it over, of whom
guys,
most have gone back.
These people play so fast and loose with numbers and other statistics. It's insane. First, the first guy was saying like, oh, 48 hours, 60,000 people crossed. That's already, 60,000 are already like, again, like I said, really taking the upper limit there. And now this guy is like, well, pretty much in 24 hours, 60,000 crossed. It's like, really? Did they? 60,000 in less than 24 hours. That's not only a lie, it's insane that you're just blowing through it so confidently. Oh my God. It's insane. Like anytime I'm like, okay, we have to put in some stuff from Fox News because we need to see the reporting. It's insane. It's absolute insanity.
Although at least 10,000 supposed minors are remaining for Spain to deal with. There had to be some politics behind this. The Moroccans obviously let them through. There are reports that the Moroccans encouraged them, not officially, but through social media and other means, by telling them that they could get into Spain and that they wouldn't be sent home again, because if they swam, it comes under a different provision of Spanish law. So I think the struggle between Spain...
That's like the only thing that they are right now being truthful about. But even that, they're just like kind of blowing through it. Because again, a lot of things are in a lot of like right-wing spaces, the conflation was like, oh, because Pedro Sanchez regularized 50,000 or 500,000 undocumented migrants, that is the reason why this is happening. And that's not true. The truth is actually what he is saying, surprisingly. The truth is that indeed recently a Supreme Court decision was made that people that were caught in the waters, that came in swimming, wouldn't be directly sent back. They would be processed before potentially being sent back. And as far as what Pedro Sanchez said about it is that this was misrepresented intentionally or otherwise by trafficking groups, by criminal organizations to these people. So I can absolutely imagine that, maybe people had to pay money to these trafficking groups or whatever, and they got the people out there, pay a fee, get closer to the border. That it's just name of the game, right? Traffickers will use people in desolate situations to make some of the most unethical quick money out of it. So, but indeed, technically what he said is correct. A lot of this was based around the Supreme Court decision that was made.
And Morocco, the political animosity there had something to do with it, and that was the immediate trigger. But the risk is always there.
Right. So, and then you mentioned that the majority of them, we believe, according to Spanish authorities, have returned back to Morocco. Do you really believe that? And then that raises a whole new raft of questions about why they did it.
I do believe that a lot of them would have gone back, because this enclave only has a population of 84,000. They've got a shelter there for migrants that holds up to 500 people, and obviously there's nowhere for them to eat. They've been taking dumps in the street from what I've seen on video. So I do believe a lot of them went back, but many will stay, and they're all going to claim to be minors. If you looked at that video, these are all men, and they seem to be somewhere in their early...
They're all men? What is he going to say? All early 30s?
Early 20s to maybe 40.
Yeah, sure. A couple people are like 21, whatever, but there was a lot of minors in there. I saw a lot about like 14-year-olds. Like, again, here's where they started misrepresenting or just straight up lying about the situation. Like, yes, there's going to be a range of ages, but there was a lot of young people and also a decent amount of minors, it's a very sad and scary state of affairs.
So you're going to have the same thing we had at the southern border, where 500,000 unaccompanied children supposedly came in. Many of them are over 18. This is going to be the same thing here. They're going to claim to be under 18 and then leave the Spanish government to figure it out.
Yeah, so this is just like, again, we've talked about this in the beginning, the idea of the international network of right-wing political allies. Or just even as a broader topic, just the idea of international networks of political allies can go whichever way ideologically, but in this case I really want to highlight how we saw almost in full force the international right-wing political network flare up, right? Politicians, media, all different types of groups just flare up and mostly coordinated, hit the same points, the same type of lies, the same type of misrepresentation. And again, it's the classic scapegoating of migrants, and in that, and in lockstep, also blaming it on socialism. And here we're back to it. He said one thing that was truthful, one thing that wasn't massaging the truth into misrepresentation, and he gets right back into everything else.
Anytime you have 60,000 military-aged young men coming across the border.
They love saying military aged. Girl, what the fuck, man? Military aged. Military aged. Just say 18. Military age it's again, it's another example of like how can we most heavily load, because yeah, minors is a really sad situation. So of course you want to move away from that idea that minors are also crossing as much as possible. So yeah, all of a sudden it's not just 18 or older, it's military aged, scary military. Every military is scary except the United States military, apparently, according to these guys. Like, oh yeah, military age needs to invoke fear, except when we are trying to recruit extremely young men for our militaries.
That's an invasion, and it seems like a very scary invasion, if you ask me.
It's not. It's not an invasion. It's a crossing, and people are all practically already back. Like, it's not. The consequences are non-existent, except for the fact that, a lot of shit was thrown at Sanchez, at Spain, at Muslims, and at migrants. That's the net, the results at the end of the day. That's what it resulted in.
I want to switch gears to this and ask you about Trump's Board of Peace outlining a Gaza peace plan. Obviously, there are a lot of.
We'll get to that later. Well, let's just finish off the Ceuta story. Did I have anything up here? Yeah. So next up, let's stick with Fox News, to be honest.
And the migrant surge flowing from Morocco into the Spanish.
This one is a bit louder, but yeah. So for now, I want to dive into. We might as well stick with Fox News reporting here, but again, in the same frequency or in the same wavelength that we were talking about regarding the collective flare-up of right-wing reactions. One of the more direct consequences that isn't just a couple of tweets or shitty reporting is that Italy decided to suspend, as the title said, suspend border-free travel agreement with Spain for August. It's temporary, but still, it's in my opinion, an insane move. It is so out of proportion, not applicable to the situation, and it is just so clearly a U.S. ally action that, it's insane. Like the Schengen cooperation agreement, it's like one of the most fundamental things that makes Europe so awesome, right? And Italy has decided to test the waters, really, if we're being honest. Just test the waters and see, can we get away with this? What's going to be the pushback? Because, guys, I hate to compare numbers in a situation like this, but Pedro Sanchez also put it out there. And while I don't agree with, criminalizing migration or making migration more difficult. Hey, what's up, chatter? What's up, Linton? Welcome. Good to have you. You're coming in right in the middle of all the fire. Aw, cute emote. Welcome. How you been, chatter? What are you up to? Hope you're good. Yeah, we were just talking about, of course, the Ceuta. I keep fucking up on the pronunciation, but on the Ceuta situation where, a lot of people crossed and we saw a flare up of the international right-wing ally network. So yeah, it's been insanity, but I was just talking about, or we were just going to talk about how Italy, some might say the Israel of Europe, but that Italy suspended the Schengen cooperation it has with Spain, and that I think it is such an insane thing to do that is completely disproportional to the situation. And also, I even would put forth that this is Italy, a very close ally of Trump, kind of testing the waters. Like, can we do this? What is going to be the pushback? What's going to be the consequences? Because of course we know that the United States' main goal is to break up Europe, you know, to be able to, the United States would much rather deal with individual European countries than with the European Union. But I think what is also interesting, and Pedro Sanchez pointed this out, which I think is very interesting. And again, I'm not pro criminalizing migrants. I'm not pro like less migration. But it is interesting that Italy has like some of the highest quote unquote irregular entries in the last 5 years, whereas Spain has like half of that. So, you know, it's interesting. Like this insane reaction to a non-situation is like just completely built on right-wing, you know, scapegoating and misrepresenting of the truth or straight up lying. And I mean, hey, it's obvious to see Italy has like way more, but again, it shouldn't matter, but it is a good thing to point out because Italy has still decided to suspend the Schengen cooperation with Spain. PSYOP working too well. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, again, I honestly, when I first saw the news story, I was like, and when I first was hearing about it, I was like, what the hell? Did people swim across the Strait of Gibraltar? Like, what the hell is happening? And I was like, honestly, if they swam all the way across the Strait of Gibraltar, more power to them. Let them stay. They fought for it. Look at that shit. And then when I heard this is what the situation was, is like they swam across from one pier to the other. I was like, this is why the international right-wing community is just like pretending like World War III is happening, like a zombie attack is happening. I'm like, this is insanity. Like it was insane. But then of course, as I was reading a bit more about it, and today also catching up on all the new developments, I mean, I just think that it's so important to adequately frame this as like, you know, this is like, it's not just Israel, it's not just Morocco, it's not just the United States, it's not, you know, right-wing European leaders. It is the international right-wing network that has politicians, that has think tanks, that has media. And at the end of the day, it's not just that they're representing a general idea of right-wing ideology. They are representing American interests. It's the American capitalist economy interests that are being represented. So if Israel at some point in the past, an Israeli person has tweeted about, oh, Morocco needs to take back Ceuta, or if Morocco in the past has loosened its border control to let, you know, tens of thousands of people pass, like all of that is like separate pieces of the puzzle for like the larger picture, which most comes down to destabilizing Europe for American interests. But yeah, let's just dive into the video. We just watched another Fox News reporting on the situation. I wanted to watch this one as well because it's, guys, I have to admit, Fox News is hilarious because on the one hand, they will say like 10 lies and then they will report one thing weirdly accurate that is being reported wrong in other places, and it's, what can you say?
Spanish territory of Ceuta, a situation that has now turned deadly. Authorities now deploying tear gas, water cannons, and firing warning shots in an effort to stop tens of thousands of migrants coming in from Morocco. Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is here. First, to the foreign correspondent,
Brazil, Morocco, London to Ibiza, straight to Orlando, Vegas to Africa. You know that song, Chatter? I don't know why that just came into my head. That's a anytime is a good time for a Pitbull song. But back to the news because this is important.
Jeff Paul, he's live for us in London with the very latest on this. Jeff.
Yeah, and Trey, Spanish authorities now say at least 57 people were killed during those chaotic scenes in Ceuta, and that number could go up as divers start to search the sea. Officials estimate 60,000 people crossed into the Spanish territory.
Again, that is a high on the higher mark. Hey, what's up, other chatter? What's up, Blue? Welcome, welcome. Waving. Welcome, chatter. You're just joining us when we're still going through the Ceuta crossing news story, because yeah, it's, of course, there's just so much to get to about it. I've already been talking a lot about it, hitting a lot of different things that are bothering me personally, but are also just like important to understand a bit better. And right now, we're just kind of diving into the whole thing that Italy suspends the Schengen cooperation with Spain, at least until the end of August. And again, this is more maybe my personal take, but I think that is just like Trump allies seeing how far they can push things, seeing what they can shake and break, all for the, for the eventual goal of weakening European cohesion, for the sake of America being able to get more out of Europe for itself. Because anytime America is involved, it's a zero-sum game. It's not a win-win. It's I will dominate you or I will destroy you.
Without anyone really stopping them. Now, the amount of people who pushed
But
into
welcome, Blue. Hope you're doing good. How are you doing?
that Spanish territory in just one day, well, it is equivalent to about 70% of that city's population. The military has now been deployed to help restore order, and Spain's Interior Ministry says roughly 37,000 who crossed have already returned to...
Wait, no way. He was
Interior
prepared.
Ministry says
Wait, where is
roughly
he?
37,000
Look at that guy. He got his flippers. That's awesome.
to help restore order, and
Wait,
Spain's...
where is it? Look at him, dude. He is flipping those flippers. Thanks for explaining the situation. Oh yeah, I mean, um, I've said this before, but again, at first when everything was coming in, I was like, these people have swam across the Strait of Gibraltar, guys. This is amazing. There's probably a Michael Phelps in there. There's a Moroccan Michael Phelps that swam across the Strait of Gibraltar the way they are talking about this news story. So we had to get a little bit more acquainted with the reporting. So I really did I read a lot of articles. I have a decent idea about everything that happened, and it is truly one of the most insanely blown out of proportion stories, where the only results right now is that the Schengen cooperation is suspended between Italy and Spain for at least until August. And, we see this like clear inflammation of the international right-wing US-led network. So yeah, that's truly the only consequences. I do wonder though, because I have seen a lot of pushback, and the pushback, because this is such a falsely framed story, the pushback really has truth on its side, right? Like, for example, Jean-Luc Mélenchon from France on Bout, the left-wing party, he has had a lot of clear answers and tweets and responses to the situation. And I do think that, again, we always, as a left-wing person, you always have truth on your side. You know what I mean? You have science on your side. You have reality on your side, because that's what we choose to believe in. We choose to believe in the material reality. It might not always look perfect or, ideal, but it is reality, and it is what we have, and that's where we need to meet people and move forward. And so, of course, we want things to be better, but we know that we need to look at things from the truth. We need to find the truth. But yeah, so for me, I think it's been really interesting to see the pushback, because there's actually a lot of pushback, and I do wonder if in any way this can also turn out a bit positive for Sanchez, because Sanchez right now is demanding the EU interior ministers or something like that to do a meeting about this. I don't know. I wonder how far things are getting pushed in whatever direction. I guess we'll just have to stay close to it. we'll keep talking about this in the coming weeks. But yeah, I mean, Sanchez has been going through it, that's for sure. But yeah, shout out to this guy with his flippers, and it's matching his hat. I'm not gonna lie, I think that's kind of awesome. But I think all of the images that I've seen from these people crossing, I feel so bad for them, because the way we are being lied to is the exact same way that they are being lied to, right? They are being lied to by trafficking groups, by human trafficking groups. They're being lied to by social media channels. Why did they cross? I didn't know why. Well, the most basic way I can explain it is that in Spain, there are two things that recently happened. The Spanish government regularized 500,000 undocumented migrants. They just made them, documented. That's one thing, and that doesn't have anything to do with the situation. But then there's this other thing that actually has to do with the situation, and that is that the Spanish Supreme Court recently decided that people that are caught swimming or while trying to cross into Spain, that they can directly be sent back without being processed first. But this doesn't involve like Ceuta. This doesn't involve that region. But this decision by the Supreme Court was most likely maliciously, wrongly explained by trafficking groups or other illegal organizations to these people, these young Moroccans. And maybe, they asked them for money to help them cross, that sort of thing. And then a lot of people that didn't think that they have any future in Morocco, they decided to try and cross. I can tell you we're female to male. Buddy, you and me both. I'm not hiding it. Why would I trust a brown person in Europe about migration news? Well, I don't know. I have a lot of news for you. I'm a Portuguese person, and I was born and raised in the Netherlands for most of my life. So, as a matter of fact, I'm as European as you can get. Yeah, you aren't a man. Again, you're preaching to the choir. No one is saying that. I am a political content creator. I stream about the news. I stream about politics because, I just think that people need to know a little bit more about the actual goings on. And hey, if you're gonna have an annoying dinner with a family member that's just gonna, spout out a lot of weird shit that isn't really true, maybe you can be, equipped with the truth, with a better understanding about how things actually happened and how they unfolded. And you can say something about it, you can explain the situation, and people might be curious to learn more. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do here. I'm just trying to keep people curious for the truth without falling for lies and manipulation. So yeah, let's talk about the facts. But yeah, let's keep watching this video that we were watching. But yeah, Duncan Crossbury, I hope you understand a little bit better why they crossed. That's really what it comes down to. But of course, the context in which this is happening is that, of course, Morocco is close allies with the United States. Morocco is close allies with Israel, and Spain has been very much, of course, critical of Israel and the genocide. And Spain has, for example, also not allowed the United States to use Spanish military bases to do the US-Israeli war on Iran. Most of the stuff online is rage bait. Yeah, this has been an explosion in the way the news is talking about it, especially in the right-wing side of things. So yeah, I would say that there is a lot of misinformation going around. But again, like I said, there's also been a lot of people correcting it and, just getting to the point about what is actually happening, and that this is like an attempt to misrepresent the situation. I'm addicted to this song. Wait, let's see. Oh my goodness. Wait. Okay, let's listen a little bit because I don't know if it's going to get copyrighted. our bro Robespierre. Oh, this song what is this song again? I feel like the song is recognizable. But yeah, I mean, shout out to the guillotine, shout out to the French revolutionaries that, you know, keep that thing going. Yeah, honestly, at the end of the day, just shout out to French revolutionaries. You guys are awesome. Most stuff online are rage bait, reactionary comments, and people just trying to make any bad stuff fit their agenda. Yeah. No shout out to the French though. I don't know, man. Let me put it this way. Again, not every French person is the same. They're still French. Okay, you got me there. But let me put it this way. The French, they will, you know, break shit and burn shit down if their government tries to pass whatever type of policy that will, you know, make things worse for them. So they know how to make their politicians scared, and I respect them for that. I respect them.
Who crossed have already returned.
I can't believe you stooped this low. I didn't expect it. Yeah. That is yeah. I hate to do this, but I guess I'm a little bit French maxing, defending the French. Just a little bit. As a treat. Just we can even keep them, you know, we don't need to be besties, but at least I'm like, hey, the way you scare your politicians, it's kind of a flex. It's kind of nice. I get it though. They can be a bit rude, but again, they don't take shit. That's kind of awesome.
To Morocco. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez is blaming criminal networks and human traffickers for the situation. But it is worth pointing out a Spanish court recently
I like how that
ruled
guy, by the way,
by sea.
I don't even know if he's still in here, but I like how that guy, who Ali, just came in here, a prime gamer. He just came in here to just, he tried to rage bait, and I was just like, bro, I don't even know what you're saying. Like, listen, if you want to say I'm a brown person, I have been confused all my life for a brown person. I'm just a person with dark hair. I'm literally as European as it come. Nothing wrong with being brown. That's just not my identity. And yes, I know I'm non-binary. Again, not trying to hide it. I'm just being comfy with who I am. I'm just chilling. And this person is coming into the chat all stressed out while we're talking about like some of the most important news of our time. I wonder if he's still in there. If he is, guys, should we keep him as a pet? Maybe we can keep him as a pet just for fun. If he says some other crazy shit, it's kind of nice. We only respect Mbappe. Yeah, Mbappe is also really cool. I want him to be the dictator of France. Get him in office. As a Spanish person, I hate France. Not beret maxing. True. Next stream, I'm just like slowly gonna have like a striped shirt. I'm gonna have a red beret. I'm gonna have a small pencil mustache. I'm slowly gonna French max, beret max. As a British person, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe I don't get it. I think French people are kind of funny, and for me, if there's like one people I'm like side-eyeing heavy, it's like German people. But even then, like that's historic Germany. It's not even Germany now. And it's like German government. He was like, hi, excuse me, just give me a few seconds to be panphobic and racist really quickly. Yeah, I don't know, man. He was like, Saturday night, and I'm gonna be a shitty person because I have no life. But hey, sometimes, you know, you're just a loner loser, and that's what you do for fun, I guess. Tu ne parles pas français, je parle français. Exactly. France et moi, et je suis France. Okay, Duncan throwing out the French. I don't know if this is very grammatically correct, but it's French. You got that. I was about to ban him, but you don't like me to ban people. I mean, if it is getting really bad, we can ban people. It's fine. But if it's like if he just does this and goes away, who cares? Although I know someone who genuinely hates the French for some reason, also a reformer, so it tracks. Yeah, that's like, you know, you can hate France for the meme, right? You can be like a France hater, LARPer, and it's fine. You know, at the end of the day, you're not gonna have, you know, have high cortisol because you actually hate France or French people. But if you actually hate them, that's crazy. And yeah, it does track that he's a reformer. I'm French and France is me. Oh, okay, I got it. Wait. Okay, guys, but hear me out. You say, and especially you, Linton, hear me out. You say all of this, but what about the best movie ever? Mr. Bean's Holiday. This is unironically, this is one of my favorite movies, especially to watch in the summer. Like, look at this. Look at Mr. Bean chilling in the French Riviera. This is amazing. And what was it? And who else was in it? What's his name again? Fuck, the guy that played the green. How can I forget his name? I'm blanking. Fuck, I forgot his name. I can't believe I forgot his name. Willem Dafoe. There you go. Yeah, Willem Dafoe's part in this movie was also fucking hilarious. Like the whole montage. Yeah, I don't know. I like this movie. So I like this movie as like French representation. I don't need other French representation. This is where my French love begins and ends. But yeah, let's get back to the news, because I was just, again, we were just gonna touch on the fact that Italy is fucking so cucked to the United States. And chat, I don't know what to tell you. Italy's cucked to the United States. That's just what it is. Meloni can pretend that she's like, oh, I stand my, or what's an Italian accent? I stand on my ground against you American pig. I stand on my ground. But when it comes down to it, she rolls right over and does the bidding of whatever America wants, which in a larger context is breaking up the European cohesion.
Deported. There's also a new Spanish program that gives legal status to illegal immigrants. President Trump says the catastrophe in the Spanish territory is a product of weak laws and bad management.
It looks like an invasion of a country.
Yeah, this guy, he knows what's up. There's like shit stain in a toilet after someone ate some bad chili. He knows what's up, guys. Let's listen to this guy. Chat, he's gonna drop some real truth on you. He's almost as orange as like Duncan's name is. That's like practically the same color. Let's compare. As a matter of fact, let's get a little sample size. That's pretty much the same color. Duncan, I hate to say it, but your name color on Twitch, your like username color is the same as like Trump's tan. Let's be nice. Let's call it a tan. Stuff is all, I know, dude. It's nice. It's especially nice because everyone has a different color and it's cool. But this is, I'm so sorry. I'm like, you know, artist brain, so my eyes are you know, pulled to different colors. Trump's corner makeup. Exactly. Every time I see him, he looks worse. Yeah, it's just like, I didn't know that a human could look worse or like look bad in so many different ways. Like, it's really like 50 Shades of Orange in the way that he just looks. He looks, you know, just dead in a different way every day. I'm so sorry, Duncan. I take it back. Duncan Crossberry, I take it back. Yours is actually a nice color. And you're a normal person, so hey, good for you. This guy, weird shit stain. But he's also the president of the United States, so unfortunately, what he is saying and doing, we need to look at. Sorry, chatters. My bad.
Hundreds of thousands of people. And that same thing's going to happen to us if the Republicans don't get elected. Except worse. Much bigger. Much easier to get into.
There is also concern right here in Europe among many leaders who worry this could soon spill over and across their borders. The UK's Prime Minister Andy Burnham called the situation...
Viva la revolution. We shall revolt against this affront to the nation. Me as hell. Me as fuck.
...concerning, and the Italian government has now suspended its border-free travel arrangements with Spain. Trace?
Jeff Paul live for us in London. Jeff, thank you. Let's
be sure to like and subscribe.
Hey, Linton, what did you just say? What is it? Excuse me? I cannot believe you denied the isometric nature of Trump's appearance. I cannot believe you called him asymmetric. I can't believe you've done this. That's impossible. Look at this guy. He is, don't look at him too long, but he is very isometric. Also, Duncan, I'm so sorry. This is like a really, really random inside joke that we got at some point a couple streams ago, but one of I think it was Blue did like a typo in the chat where he typed isometric about something like China isometric. And ever since then, anything that's like nice and equal and cool, we call it isometric. And anything that's not nice, equal, and cool, we call it asymmetric. And America is very asymmetric. Symmetriok, pretty much. You get the vibe. It's just that, yeah. But anyway, Trump not isometric. Trump asymmetric. Ooh. China isometric. Yes. Anyway, that hate to explain the joke, but I didn't want you to feel too left out.
Much bigger, much easier to get into.
There is also concern right here in Europe among many leaders who worry this could soon spill over and across their borders. The UK's Prime Minister Andy...
It will, it won't, and it certainly won't be through Spain, because Spain has one of the lowest irregular crossings of whole of Europe, so it won't. Let me just correct that. It won't.
Burnham called the situation concerning, and the Italian government has now suspended its border-free travel arrangements with Spain. Trace?
It's just so embarrassing. I feel like maybe if you're not paying close attention, and I get it, you can get lost in the sauce of everything and just not understand, like, oh damn, something insane must have happened. Like, these people, again, Fox News calls them hordes of military-aged men. You know, these people must be dangerous. They must be doing crazy shit, and it must be like millions of people. I mean, Trump himself, when talking about this, was talking about hundreds of thousands of people crossing or invading. It's not. Like, the highest estimates is 60,000, but it's anywhere between 50 and 60,000. It's not 100,000. It's not hordes of military-aged men. They're people, they're young people, early 20s. There are also some minors. And it's just... I think it's embarrassing how much this situation has been lied about. And to the point that Italy is now pretending that it is okay, or it is a normal response to suspend the European Free Trade Agreement with Spain. It's insane. All of this cover on this manufactured crisis, but little to no coverage on people washed up on shores due to our immigration systems. Yeah, like, I feel like this level of like manufacturing, it's like it's very American. It has like a really American like intensity and drama to it. Guys, this is my first manufactured crisis. This is my first American manufactured crisis. I'm kind of nervous. Oh my God. The first American. Wow. God damn. No, but again, from what I initially heard and thought that this was about to now that I understand the situation, I'm like, this is why we're suspending the trade or the Schengen agreement with Spain, Italy? What the fuck? King Burnham of the North Highlands. Exactly. I like the bionic arm edition in there. That's awesome. Love to see it. Yeah, I don't know if I had some other oh. Yeah. All right. Yeah, let's finish off talking about this story. Actually, let's do this.
Story, Matthew Mary Carrish.
Because if there's one thing that also ended up happening is that Sanchez really, really did not like the way that some European countries kind of used this situation to, I don't know, polarize, to create division. So Pedro Sanchez has written to Ursula von der Leyen and also some other people about this. And let me see if I have it here somewhere. I think this one. So EU to hold urgent meeting after Spanish Prime Minister calls Ceuta crisis response selfish. Pedro Sanchez hits out at polarizing and unlawful reaction over mass crossing into Spanish enclave in North Africa. The EU will hold an extraordinary meeting of interior ministers after a breakdown of political unity over the arrival of more than 50,000 irregular migrants in Ceuta, a Spanish territory in North Africa. Officials representing EU member states and Frontex border agency experts met at an emergency meeting on Saturday after Pedro Sanchez, like this Saturday, earlier today, the Spanish Prime Minister accused some EU countries, particularly Italy, of weaponizing Friday's events instead of showing solidarity and empathy. Andy Burnham, shout out Andy Burnham. Duncan, shout out Andy Burnham. Not gonna lie, Burnham's doing relatively better than I thought he would. His speech on social care a few days back changed my mind a bit. Give him time. Give him time. Unfortunately, I didn't really catch up on a lot of like Burnham UK news, but give him time. It's okay. I there's so much I want to get to, but yeah, we'll see. Probably in Wednesday, I'll get back to a little bit more like UK, Germany, French news, but let's see how things unfold. That's for sure. But anyway, Andy Burnham, the British Prime Minister, said on Saturday, "I've been in touch with Spanish Prime Minister and we are providing what help we can." His comments came as Spain announced it was installing a new barrier along the breakwater into the sea after the massive border breach. There is frustration in Spain that the previous incident of this scale, where migrants massed on the border of Poland, were labeled as labeled as a hybrid attack from Belarus and were met with solidarity from Poland. I see. More than 50,000 people crossed into the territory from Morocco on Thursday and Friday, with at least 67 people dying in the attempt, some drowned while others being crushed as they tried to cross a breakwater barrier. So although more than 48,000 people had voluntarily returned to Morocco by 6 p.m. on Friday, the influx triggered a political crisis for the Madrid government and led some fellow EU countries to call for Spain to be suspended from the Schengen-free zone. Absolute insanity. Sanchez said virtually all of those who had crossed had been returned, preventing any unauthorized onward movements towards continental Europe. Let's see. We're back to normal. So Sanchez asked for a meeting after what happened to be appeared to be a breakdown of EU unity on external border policy, with Italy attacking Spain. Italy announced on Friday evening that it would suspend its Schengen agreements with Spain for a month, even though Ceuta and Spain's other North African territory, Melilla, are subject to special Schengen rules that prevent onward movement within that zone. Italy's foreign minister, Antonio Tajani, blamed the situation in Ceuta on the Sanchez government's decision to offer a now closed scheme to regularize the status of more than 1 million undocumented migrants and asylum seekers. He said the program had incentivized human trafficking and was profoundly wrong. This is the lie, right? This is the lie that a lot of far right were constantly repeating. This did not happen because of the documentation of undocumented migrants that happened a little bit earlier ago. But it wasn't more than 1 million. It was 500,000. Or maybe I'm misremembering. But in any case, that was one thing. What Sanchez has said is that most likely this large number of crossings happened because of a Supreme Court decision, a Spanish Supreme Court decision that said something that referred to people that were caught while swimming towards Spain, or that situation, that they couldn't directly be sent back, that they had to be processed first. That is most likely what human traffickers told people, not about this situation, about the undocumented, or the regularization of undocumented migrants. Sanchez was forthright in a letter In a letter sent to European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, the European Council President Antonio Costa, and Michael Martin, the Prime Minister of Ireland, who holds the EU presidency. Sanchez said that while most European countries or EU countries had expressed support and solidarity over events in Ceuta, others had chosen to attack Spain. Such an attitude, driven by prejudice, fake news, ignorance, or political interest, is contrary to European law, humanitarian law, and the principles of solidarity that bind us. I think Sanchez, again, he really has truth on his side. And I think that that is so important because what has been done to Spain is insane. And yes, we absolutely need to stick together within our European interests and not be broken up by, American meddling with all of these like strong US allies doing the most, criticizing and lying, quite frankly. Vakborn and be right back. I'm not a big fan of any politician with relatively improvement, although not ideal. Sure, his policies might make us slightly more comfortable domestically, but is nowhere near transformative enough. And of course, his foreign policies and allegiances are abhorrent. Fair enough. Yeah, I do, chat. I do want to, again, we'll unfortunately, I'll only have so much time. One day I'll be full-time streaming and we can talk about so much news, and then I'll be able, dude, my goal would be to do more streaming, talk about more topics, and also hire people to, one, edit specific segments for the YouTube, and also do better with like clipping, because I tried to do like clipping, or at least like clip a couple things every week or every once in a while, but it is so hard, dude. Like with a full-time job and maintaining things around the house is difficult. But yeah, well, for now, I hope Wednesday to cover a bit more UK news, but we'll get to it. We'll just zoom in on things like developing stories, that sort of thing regarding Andy Burnham and the UK, for sure. Yeah, and he also, like, this is also so funny to me. Again, I'm not pro excluding migrants or not having a normal perspective on migration, but I do think it's funny that as they reported in a pointed rebuke to Italy, he noted that Spain was, quote, according to Frontex, one of the least porous external bodies or external borders of the European Union, with a number of irregular entries that is half that recorded, for example, in Italy in the recent years. And yeah, we saw that. Where did I have that? Where was it? Did I close it, maybe? The helly? I don't know where I put it. Maybe I did close it. What the hell? Oh, yeah, here it is. Yeah, so this is what they're referring to. Again, Italy has probably around 478,600 irregular entries, and for Spain, it's, yeah, let's just say half. So that really puts in perspective how crazy. This you mean, Linton? Speak to British politics. Did you see Jacob people? I see that. Yeah, I mean, again, this is what he's referring to, or that what is being referred to in this. Oh shit! What I do? What is being referred to in this article? That he specifically said to Italy that, again, according to Frontex, one of the least porous external borders, yeah, is Spain, and then. I mean, the way he said it is also interesting. It's like solidarity and empathy are optional. Respect for European treaties and data is not. Like, he's really saying, like, I don't even give a fuck if we want to be friends. Oh, okay. Gotcha. But yeah, regardless, I just wanted to point out that this is what the article was referring to. And, Pedro Sanchez closes it up by saying, is this not a time to divide? Is it a time to continue building a strong and united Europe? Because, guys, must I remind you that half of the jobs being generated right now in Europe, guess where they're coming from? Oh yeah, guys, they're coming from Spain. Spain is actually like carrying Europe on its back. Today Spain generates nearly half of the jobs created in the EU. We have 22.5 million social securities affiliates, and the unemployment rate is once again below 10%, at the lowest level in 10 years. We create more and better jobs. Guys,
Una cifra histórica.
that's all I need to say. This plus Pedro Sanchez's government's critique to Israel, plus Pedro Sanchez's denial of letting military bases be used by the US Israel war on Iran. That's kind of why they're in this situation. So let's just watch this video by France24, the reporting they're doing on it, because it's in the same wavelength.
Joins me now on set. Good to see you, Matthew. So first of all, tell us about the reactions that we've had from some of these EU countries.
Well, Spain is has one of the few left-wing governments left in the EU, and its relatively welcoming posture towards migrants has made it somewhat of an outlier. So the right-wing leaders of all the other European countries kind of seized on recent events to push for tightening of border controls. Yesterday, Italy suspended its Schengen agreement with Spain, meaning that travelers from Spain to Italy now will be subject to random border checks. Denmark and Finland have just said that they would like to follow suit, and France and Portugal are increasing their checks along their borders.
Okay, but from what I heard, like Portugal, like the Portuguese prime minister, he said like he might look into doing it, but the way he responded, it kind of felt like he was just giving an answer to give an answer, not because they're actually going to do stuff, but who knows?
To be clear, the isolated exclaves of Ceuta and also Melilla are not part of the Schengen free travel zone. They are separated from Europe by the Mediterranean Sea and ferries, and people already have to have paperwork and go through checks in order to reach Europe. So the people who came into Ceuta yesterday or in the last few days are not in Europe right now. And this morning, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni upped her rhetoric. She spearheaded the letter that you mentioned earlier, asking the EU to urgently convene an extraordinary conference of interior ministers. She said, "We cannot allow uncontrolled mass crossings, the exploitation."
Spain should halt the extradition of Fergie Chambers in general, but especially following this intervention. Who is Fergie Chambers? American's communist political activist and former heir to the Cox family, which derives its wealth from Cox Enterprises. Okay, Fergie Chambers. Tell him. And he funds Hamas. Awesome. That's awesome. This is probably also just a smear, but that's funny. I hadn't heard about it. Okay. Let's see this reporting. Trump seeks the extradition of pro-Palestine activist and donor James Fergie Chambers amid a widening crackdown on the U.S. left. Oh, okay. It's kind of in that situation. Right. Yeah, they have been, again, indeed cracking down on the U.S. left. Trump seeks to extradite Palestine Solidarity Funder. Oh, okay. James Fergie Chambers from Spain on material support for terrorism charges. Lawmakers and right groups call it political persecution and a broader crackdown. Oh, this is very interesting. This wasn't on my radar. On July 10, activist Fergie Chambers was arrested in Ibiza, Spain, after the Trump administration requested his extradition. Chambers, heir to the Cox Communication family fortune, has used his vast inheritance. That's awesome. Okay, guys, we did it. We found the one ethical billionaire. We did it, guys. Round of applause for Fergie. The one ethical, mega wealthy. Yeah. That's awesome, though. The indictment accuses him of international money laundering with the intent of provide material support and resources for terrorist organizations. Classic. He's reporting held in maximum security prison in Madrid while awaiting an extradition hearing process. This is really recent. Early July. Spain has been going along with it. Hopefully they finally fucking realize you can't negotiate with these fucks. Yeah. Sometimes it can be a bit tricky though. But I guess this would be this. I mean, this is luckily something that probably falls under like the Spanish national government's dealings. Because if this was like Madrid politics, oh, he would have been extradited yesterday. If this is the same lady that cut funding, the same Madrid politician that cut funding for the forest firefighters, and cut taxes for the billionaires, he would have been out of there in a second. So, I mean, yeah, if this falls under the cases being heard by the Spain Audiencia Nacional, which has 40 days to decide whether or not to grant Trump's request. If the U.S. request is approved, the case will head to Spain's national court. If it rules that the extradition is admissible, the final decision on surrender will be made by the Council of Ministers. Both James partners still. The International States is fabricating a narrative of terrorist financing to silence Chambers and his vital philanthropy to stop aid and solidarity through fear, and also to justify its repression at home, said the International Association of Democratic Lawyers in a statement. Oh, Rashida Tlaib. Oh, actually, I do think I heard about this. For some reason, I'm now like just connecting the dots. Where are the strong socialist strongholds in Spain? It's been a little tricky because from what I talked about with a friend of mine, Barcelona for a while had like leftist or left-leaning political representation, and it did a lot for like improvement. Like I've shared about this on my Instagram story, but they have some fucking awesome walkable cities, and some pretty nice, decent public transport situation. But I think it's no longer left-leaning, but I don't remember exactly. But yeah, I don't know, because it's kind of tricky because they do have all the autonomous zones and this and that. It's just like the national government right now, it's left-wing, but in a lot of the autonomous zones, it's actually very reactionary, right-wing, unfortunately. But okay, interesting, yeah. I mean, that would be great. I mean, it's kind of fucked up if he's kind of caught up in like the political entanglement of it all, instead of it just being like a decision that is clearly made. But again, if the extradition doesn't happen, that's good regardless.
Of migration or other hybrid threats to fuel the perception that it is possible to enter the European Union illegally. Now, this letter was signed by 21 other ministers, and it really ruffled the feathers of Pedro Sanchez. He shot back with his own letter calling for a meeting. And Sanchez said such an attitude shot back, and it really ruffled the feathers.
Okay, so Meloni's letter was signed.
Now, this letter was signed by 21 other ministers, and it really ruffled the feathers of Pedro Sanchez. He shot back.
Give us a list, dude. Give us a list of all the politicians.
Back with his own letter calling for a meeting. And Sanchez said such an attitude is driven by prejudice, fake news, ignorance, or other political interest. In the current international context, the European Union cannot afford this kind of selfish, polarizing, and unlawful reaction. He said that other...
And bro, I have to say, again, Pedro Sanchez is not Karl Marx, he's not Lenin, he's not the vanguard of the revolution, but by God, I am on his side with this. Like, I think all the points he brings up, for the most part, I agree with them. Like, this is clearly just such a US-led, or a US interest situation, right? The US has so much interest in splitting up cohesive Europe in all kinds of levels, whether that's economic, politically, whatever. So yeah, it is like, call it out for what it is. It's like incredibly selfish to let this happen in international context that we are in. Probably the influx of tech folks and such to Barcelona fucked it up, if I had to guess from my limited knowledge. Yeah, I also don't know why that is. We can look into it at some point, but yeah, it's just one of those things. Thank God that Sanchez is at the helm, but we should not be here in the first place. We need to get out of this fast. Although it's not going to happen fast, it's going to happen exactly the way people are organized to act and to vote.
Europeans should be rallying to support Spain through this crisis rather than criticizing it.
Right. Now, Matthew Mary, the far right have used this event, this crisis, as fuel to advance their own agenda. What if some far right parties across Europe have been...
Like, I'm low-key distracted, but that reporter is stunning. She is stunning. I just had to comment on it. She is gorge. Anyway, but yeah, what has far-right European parties been saying?
Yeah, they're stoking fears of a continent-wide crisis. In Spain itself, the leader of Spain's far-right Vox party branded an invasion of military-aged men. Alice Vidal of...
Hey, where did we hear that before, guys? Where did we hear that before? Huh. It's almost as if all of these motherfuckers, doesn't matter if it's a Spanish far-right party or literal Vox News in America, they will use the same playbook. They will talk about the situation in the same way. Maybe they'll tweak it a little here and there because, you know, they're not going to copy the homework exactly, but that is so specific. That is such a specific, like, American approach to talking about this situation. I'm back. Hi, back. I'm Finn. Good to have you. But yeah, we were just talking about how, you'll love this, the leader of Spain's far-right Vox party called this situation, and let this guy say it.
Branded an invasion of military-aged men.
Oh, the Spanish leader of the far-right called it an invasion of military-aged men. Literally the exact same wording of Fox News. And the American far-right. American far-right also always uses, like, military-aged men. Like, this is an like, that's not something we say here. That's not, like, the way we think about things and we talk about things. Like, yeah, they will just talk about, like, Islamic, like, invaders and, like, oh, scary Muslims. Like, that's the kind of a little bit more the speed that Europe's racism goes at. But military-aged men, listen, again, I'm not here to spread conspiracies, but that is such an American, like, conceptualization of, like, how do we make the migrant crisis more scary to people? That's very American. So, of course, it's so typical that if a party like that is using it, it's because they are maybe think tanks or whatever. You know, there is a exchange of information. There's exchange of playbook happening between the Spanish far-right party Vox with whatever kind of far-right, probably even Heritage Foundation, because they are, like, one of the main groups, you know, involving themselves in executing American foreign influence in Europe. So I wouldn't be surprised. I even want to Google it. Spain Vox America Heritage Foundation. But they always go to the same conferences. The key aspects of a US think tank's work in Spain. Let's see. No excepto. I know domestically in the US they have group chats that mass blast talking points. I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they, like, if it's for the older guys, they'll just fax over a couple PDFs worth of, like, the new updated lingo. If it's the newer gen, they'll just make a fucking WhatsApp or no, Signal group chat probably. And just in between talking about some of the dumbest shit. Oh shit. Did something happen? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Guys, can you hear me? Wait. Okay, my audio is still working. Okay. Thank God. Sorry, for some reason I was not seeing the right settings and it looked like my audio wasn't working, but you know what's funny? But yeah. Okay, good. For some reason I thought it. Okay, good. Let's keep moving. You know what's funny about Santiago Abascal, far right wing leader, that he wants military training to be mandatory in Spain, but when he was younger he didn't do it. He just faked being sick. Oh, that's the classic. Even Trump did that. Back when it was mandatory, Pedro Sanchez did it, for example. Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of using hypocrisy as like my main arguments, but the far right is like just so hypocritical. Like, and I don't even think that that's a useful argument, but god damn. Anyway, thanks for confirming it. But yeah, I just want to see here. So, and this was 2025, December. From heritage to Vox, transatlantic politics beginning to take shape in Spain. The field of transatlantic policy is relatively new in Spain. For this reason, J.P. Carroll presents the views of one of the think tanks that works with the PP. I don't remember what the abbreviation is, like People's Party or something like that, and Vox. In this conversation with Mike Gonzalez, a senior fellow of the Heritage Foundation, they discuss Spain as an important country within Western civilization, explaining the role of these think tanks in Europe, and assesses the contents politics from the perspective of the Republican Party. But yeah, long story short, Partido Popular, okay, there you go, Partido Popular, Popular Party, and Vox, they are the ones that are clearly closest working together with the Heritage Foundation. And like, I wonder if the Heritage Foundation itself even says something specifically about military-aged men. That would be so funny to me. Again, not a smoking gun, but it's just, you know. Wait, this is posted 1 day ago. Over 99% of them are military-aged men, Muslim men. Right. Right. What is this, though? What is it saying about men? It was saying a lot of crazy shit. Okay, I'm completely getting sidetracked, but yeah. The point being, there's just such a clear connection between European far right and the American far right.
Alice Weidel of Germany.
The far right in the UK love the military-aged men narrative too. Yeah, it's a really specific, like, you can tell that shit, they came up with it in some think tank and they're like, oh, that's good, get it out there. And it's just like, it's so weird. It's like, a lot of times they also specifically use it because maybe sometimes there are minors involved. They use it for the American border crisis, when, you know, unaccompanied minors and all that stuff. And they love saying like, oh yeah, unaccompanied minors arrived, but not many of them weren't minors. Many of them were military-aged men. It's like, whoa, buddy. It's like, you can say an adult, you can say 18 and older, but why be, you know, why let a perfectly good opportunity to fearmonger go to waste, right? Just use military-aged men. It's almost like Farage is close to Steve Bannon and does the Epstein Park. Absolutely. Like, again, it is that international network, international right-wing network, and not just, you know, they're not just in it for the, you know, for their love of right-wing politics. They are specifically executing U.S. interest, of U.S. capitalist economy interest.
Germany's AfD said that the target was not actually Spain, that these migrants are all coming to to Germany, and so that Germany has to increase its border controls. And in France, Sarah Knafo, a far-right member of the European Parliament, wrote this post on social media. She said, "Migrants are not desperate people drifting aimlessly with the wind. They come from Morocco, a country that is not at war. They are rational. They are connected. So fear-mongering and dehumanizing language is increasing, and it's even spreading beyond the EU's borders to countries not in the Schengen Agreement." And so...
Crazy, by the way, that Germany is like, oh, yes, the reason why I'm worried is because they're all coming over here. Oh, and that's why I am so upset, and I agree about the suspension of the Schengen cooperation. It's like, bro, no one even arrived in Europe. Like, we are so obviously lying and, you know, just misrepresenting the situation. I'm losing my mind.
We just are seeing all these people saying that they are coming to be dangerous. They're coming to create problems. But researchers point out that the vast majority of these people are not dangerous. They're more likely just seeking better opportunities. After all, according to official statistics, the unemployment rate for Moroccans under 24 remains high at over 37%.
All right, Matthew, Mary, thank you very much indeed for that.
Trump is heading towards an electoral.
All right, so I think that is most of what I wanted to hit on for this, because yeah, my other point about this is that I mean, I have one reporting here by Fox News, another reporting here by DW News about how, I mean, DW even puts it as, could a migration crisis in Spain help the Republicans in November midterms? The answer is no, but I'm happy you're asking that question, DW. And then Fox News is talking about how Spain's migration surge sparks warnings over U.S. border security. So, you know, they're using different wordings, but they're pointing to the same idea about this is something that within the United States is, of course, you know, being used as leverage as well in for Trump and his domestic policies. Okay, well, here's not specifically talking about it, but yeah, of course, Trump is not going to let a good scandal go to waste. So let's see here. I guess we can watch a little bit of Fox News because they're just so damn entertaining. Man, I always have to kind of, when we look at like European reporters versus American reporters, oh goodness, like this is America. They're zhuzhed up. The higher the hair, the closer to God, all that good stuff.
In Spain, day and night, a migrant surge in Spain, acting as a warning for what happens when a country stops taking border security seriously. Over 60,000 Moroccan migrants stormed into Spain yesterday after the country's liberal Supreme Court ruled that migrants arriving by sea can't be turned away. The surge is now sending shockwaves across Europe, with France and Italy stepping up border patrols while Spain scrambles to get the situation under control.
They didn't scramble. They got it under control so like in normal time that you can expect in a situation like this. Like within 48 hours, it was like most people were already back. Most, if not all people were sent back. So again, okay, Fox News chat, we see this, right? We see Fox News, we see what they're doing.
President Trump warning Americans this will happen here if Democrats are back in charge. Watch.
I saw Spain yesterday. Things going to happen. Much easier to get into.
Yeah, he loves saying that hundreds of thousands.
Except worse.
If you get back the majority in Congress this year, get back the gavels, the committee chairs, what can you do to both undo the Lake and Riley Act and hold ICE accountable in the short term?
I don't think this administration is using Lake and Riley as a reason for their putting masked, untrained.
Yeah, that'll do it, Joey.
Yeah, they know her name. They don't know why they know her name. It just kind of pisses you off a little bit. So here's the deal. I don't need Spain as a pulse check on why immigration is important in this country. I voted for the same man 3 times in a row because I understand that immigration is important in this country. You don't need Spain.
Okay, I was kind of curious if they were going to talk a little bit more about it, but they're immediately like, well, we're different actually. We don't need Spain. So honestly, let's just move on. Because the second part, I mean, a couple more things just to round out the reporting on this situation. This is really recently. I think this happened today, or this was unfolding today. That like neo-Nazis came to this place, and they were doing a protest, and pretty much, of course, stoking the fires of hatred and xenophobia. But this is actually a really multicultural place, so yeah, they're not really welcome. And I think the police, the National Police, were escorting and demanding that the law be upheld. That these people uphold the law, which and this group had landed in Ceuta this Saturday in the mid-afternoon in the port. They have threatened and recorded journalists and have said they come to reconquer the city. Insane, because you are literally in North Africa, but whatever. These people clearly have nothing better to do in their miserable, dumbass lives. Anyway, so yeah, the community responded to it, doing a counter demonstrations to the Nazi fucking meetup, apparently. Let's see. Oh, shit, that's really loud. Sorry, guys. Or maybe these are what? Wait, what? Against. Okay, I don't know enough Spanish to understand what they're saying, but the point is, a lot of people cannot. It's because again, this is a multicultural place, right? This is not like white European, birthing grounds, right? This is North Africa. Is a place with a lot of multicultural exchange, and what you're seeing right now is like people even that just living there that happen to be fucking tan or something, right? Christians and Muslims live there. It's fine. But now this situation and like the fucking fervor of the far right, European far right to drum up so much xenophobia is, yeah, it's having consequences. Ooh, so loud. So weird, dude. Is that a Portuguese flag? What is that doing there, man? This is so crazy. And it's so typical. It's like the classic, like things on the ground are much more like dynamic, influx. There's no like borders. There's no like white person, good. Like that's all like right-wing Delulu world nonsense. Like on the ground, things are in motion. Things are not like this is good, this is bad. And if anything, like the only thing that's like normal is just like people living there, people wanting a better life for themselves and their loved ones. The weird shit is people that will just believe lies because some AI generated fucking, clip from AI bot farms making stupid comments are literally fucking hijacking their brains, and they just believe everything. It's the dumbest people, really. It's insane. But yeah, we have people like Jean-Luc Mélenchon holding it down. I'm not gonna get to this today. Yeah, people are holding it down. But it is important that everyone speaks up, right? Not just like a politician here and there. It's important that we are equipped with the facts and that we are able to step into this situation knowing a little bit what's happened, and then, talking to people when they're wrong and addressing things when possible, right? Because usually if you want things to go well, it needs to be in a proper context. Trying to live out their citizen vigilante fantasies. They saw that Army Hammer movie like Vigilante and like, oh, this is it. This is my vigilante moment. Like, what was it literally called? Vigilante? Oh yeah, Citizen Vigilante. Yeah, they probably saw this piece of shit, stupid movie, and they were like, yeah, that's me. I'm gonna go there. Yeah. Weird movie. Weird Army Hammer. Ugh. All right. For the last little bit of the stream, for the last part of the stream, I want to talk about some other news that has happened at the same time, pretty much, as this whole new situation about Ceuta. So the other news that I want to talk about is the situation of Trump's Board of Piss, being able to, put forth some kind of Gaza deal where they would potentially secure the disarmament of Hamas and some other kind of transitional stuff. Now, the biggest question, the biggest question mark will always be and has always been Israel. Israel has always broken ceasefire. Israel has always, even when the humanitarian aid was supposed to come back, Israel has continue to block humanitarian aid. Israel has done everything it wanted. It has, continued living out its fantasies, which is genocide. It is, doing whatever the fuck the United States wants and then some, right? Even going beyond it. But very importantly, Donald Trump is not far behind, definitely on par, maybe even a little bit worse, because of how he is handling everything. The Board of Peace was created kind of as a as a way to negate UN power and organizing. Initially, the Board of Peace was established by Trump, and it is still led by the U.S. government. And pretty much its task is to oversee the Gaza peace plan. But it has right now a lot of influence, and also Trump has done this weird thing that he will remain in the leader position even if he's not president. It's such a weird situation. But yeah, that's where we're at. Gaza Board of Peace announces Hamas disarmament agreement. I think this was posted on yesterday. And in this article, Israel still hadn't agreed to it necessarily. After that, at later point, Trump says that Israel's happy with Hamas despite skepticism. Skepticism of the framework. But yeah, we'll get to all of it because unfortunately, even throughout all of it, Israeli authorities mark the new Trump Board of Peace agreement with massive airstrikes targeting residential blocks in Gaza in the middle of the night. It's just, Israeli society is so sick. Like, Israelis are sick. Like, Zionism, the supremacist, colonial ideology that is Zionism is sickening. It's one of the most unimaginable breaches of any kind of moral, lawful conduct that I have personally ever witnessed in my lifetime. Like, I will never be the same person after I've learned what Israel is doing to Palestinians, the genocide that it is doing. And I want there to be peace. I want there to be equality. I want it to not be a society of apartheid. I don't want Palestinian children to be genocided. So I always hope that a new agreement will hold or that something will be different. I have to. It's not even that I have to, like, I am inherently going to be, optimistic, but there's also a level of pessimism because a lot of the times Israel is able to, do new bombings, do gunfire attacks, keep withholding aid. But what we have always seen is that Israel will reinterpret the agreement. Israel will violate it because it knows it was this way with Biden, it's this way with Trump, that Washington, the United States, is not going to punish them. They're not going to push back. Or even all of a sudden the United States might agree with what Israel's doing, or they might find some way that actually Palestinians are at fault, because that's what they've done before. But yeah, let's just dive into it. Literally a movie where a foreign Nazi goes to another country to enact. Yeah, it's so weird. It's like, bro was like, man, I don't know. I think I've watched like a YouTube video breaking it down, but it's like it's so weird. Like, some people, I don't know, man. Sure, people make mistakes in their lives, but you can just change and be a better person, and you don't need to do all this weird shit to be accepted back into like normal society. Like, I just don't understand people that double and triple down when they're confronted with like insane stuff that they do. It's weird. Like, I have made mistakes in my life that I really regret. What has it done? I'm not starring in like a weird, I'm not aligning myself with horrible people. I've taking that in, I'm like, wow, that's not good. I need to become a better person. I need to change. But yeah, I guess some people don't want to change, but whatever. Yeah. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Man, I know this is not the moment maybe to share this, but at the same time, like, I've been seeing this clip going around a couple times, but it's a clip where Greta Thunberg is like visiting a restaurant somewhere, and either the owner is Palestinian or it's just a restaurant that is really showing its support for Palestine. And it's just like, it's not, I don't like the video because it's like, oh yay, they're celebrating Greta, but it's like, I like the video because the way people are embracing each other so closely, because at the end of the day, that's what we have. We have each other because a lot of governments, not all, but a lot of governments are so closely allied to Israel. And, you know, our governments are supposed to represent our interest. Majority of people are not really positive about Israel. So, you know, that clip with Greta Thunberg and the restaurant owner, I don't know, it really warms my heart because, yeah, we have to have solidarity, and the solidarity brings us together in so many unexpected ways. And yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot of energy to talk about it because it's just, it does get very pessimistic if you look at the facts and reality of it. Like, we're by no means done with what needs to be done. But yeah, let's look into the terms and agreements of this so-called Hamas disarmament agreement. As reported by Dropsite News, Dropsite obtained the terms Hamas and Palestinian factions agreed to regarding Gaza's governance and the resistance weapons. Because, yeah, that's like one of the main things right now is that in order for Hamas to agree to ending and to turning in the weapons, Israel needs to also fully end the war in Gaza, including making provisions for Israel, including to withdraw its forces over a period of time in exchange for Hamas disarming and surrendering its weapons. Which I think is very sad, but you know, it's yeah. What can you say? The document obtained by Dropsite details the two most contentious clauses of the agreements. So 1, how the incoming National Committee would run Gaza's institutions, and 2, how the resistance weapons would be handled. Now, about the National Committee, guys. About the National Committee. So, a couple things. This fits into the larger framework of who would govern Gaza, right? And this is, again, decided by, or at least oversight and decided by the Board of Peace. And this is the roadmap that would transfer Gaza's day-to-day administration to a technocratic Palestinian committee operating under the oversight of the Board of Peace. Now, here we will really see a lot of classics, right? We see the Gaza Board of Peace, a U.S.-led international body chaired for life by Trump, responsible for high-level strategy, post-war stabilization, and reconstruction funding. Insane. This is just insanity. It's just like Trump is going to chair it for life. Inshallah, it's not for much longer, but, you know, so be it. But then this is also peak, dude. This is peak insanity. The founding executive board is a 7-member group led by former British Prime Minister Tony Blair. I thought that this was not happening anymore, by the way. I remember this being a thing, and then I remember it being like, oh yeah, we're maybe going to do it, maybe not, but we're probably not going to do it. And now apparently it's happening. Fucking insane. Which will set the agenda and implement the board's mission. Other expected members include Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, U.S. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff, and World Bank President Aya Banga. AJ Banga. I don't know how to pronounce it. Oh well. But this is fucking insanity. This is... What a lineup, dude. What a fucking lineup. I don't know where Palestinians will expect to actually have representation of what happens in their lives, because this is just, it just smells like, oh, we're gonna build some fucking resorts on that coastline, let me tell you. A new song by Palestinian Australian artist. If you have some time at the end, I like that. Let's keep that. Thank you for sharing. We will absolutely, as an end banger, we will lift our spirits with it. So yeah, that's just to give you guys a bit of a taste. Then Fox drop site goes into describing how the weapons collection would go, how the civilian administration and public sector would be, organized. And even though Trump hailed a historic breakthrough, the draft's actual terms are gradual and conditional. Hamas negotiator Ghazi Hamad told Al Jazeera that the movement will not take any disarmament step before Israel withdraws to the phase 1 line, which is 53% of Gaza, up from the current 70%, and will not act if Israel fails to meet its obligations. And mind you, the occupation that Israel has been doing is just like, it's been increasingly more and more. Like, they have moved up the yellow line further and further deeper into Gaza. But yeah, let's just dive into
And
it.
joining me from our international affairs desk is Matthew Mary Carrier. Hi, Matthew Mary. What are the implications
It's this guy
of
again, man. He was a busy bee.
Hamas's acceptance?
I mean, this is a huge deal. If Hamas actually disarms at this point in time, it's going against its 1988 founding charter, where it explicitly states that it has a strict commitment to armed resistance against Israel. But now Hamas is saying it's going to change tack because the movement is making concessions for the sake of the people of Gaza, saying that it wants to save them from killing and displacement. As, of course,
Man, every time I look at the resistance, I'm like, these are people that either have lost their families, have been orphaned. These are people that have either lost a lot or have a lot to lose as far as the remaining family. Like, the resistance, I have no words. Like, I think it's just, if you look at the situation in which they are forced to exist and make decisions, I think it's, I think history will look back at them and absolutely give them the moral high ground, the moral right to defend not just their homelands, but also their families, their potentially killed parents, potentially killed children or spouses. That's what I see when I look at these young men. They shouldn't have to do this, right? Norman Finkelstein always says when he visits, that the visits he has done, the people that he knows, these are really smart people. And I agree, there's plenty of of cool people, of smart people, of funny people, of artists, of like, there's so many people in here that will never get a chance to fulfill their, human flourishing, to, develop as humans because they're occupied violently so, and their people are being genocided and exterminated. So I don't know what I would have done in a situation like that. But I understand them. I do.
despite the truce implemented in October, Israel has continued to bomb Gaza. Indeed, there was an airstrike just this morning. And more than 1,200
exactly.
Gazans
There was an airstrike already. I think we just looked at it here.
Have been killed since that deal was signed. Now, for Hamas to disarm, it is underlined that a provision in the new agreement that Israel must commit to and implement its obligations towards peace. These include allowing sufficient humanitarian aid to reach Palestinians, which so far has not occurred, and a multi-step withdrawal from Gazan territory. Now, this directly contradicts a recent Netanyahu directive for the Israeli military to take over about 70% of the Gaza Strip. But Israel has said that it's acting the way it has because Hamas has refused to disarm. So then, if Hamas actually disarms now,
I don't know, man. I need these fucking reporters to be a little bit more like actual journalists and say that this is happening in the context of occupation, genocide, apartheid. Like, we need to get a grip. As journalists need to get a fucking grip and not just be like, oh, there's these two parties. And the way I'm explaining it, it makes it seem like they're kind of equal. And the way I'm explaining it, it's just like, well, Israel's doing the best it can, really. So, hey, maybe if Hamas disarms, maybe we can finally have peace in the Middle East. And in the way I'm explaining it, it will sound like a really complicated and really tense situation. But if you would actually fucking explain what's going on, it would be a situation of a US-backed military, nuclear armed power versus some guys that, do have makeshift weapons practically. It's like it's a supernova versus an ant. It's not even in any way equal. And we need to be so much more fucking clear about it. This is not, and this is not a war, right? Again, this is something that Norman Finkelstein also really highlights and points to, that this is not a war, because a war means these are two military forces trying to get to a military victory. This is not a war because, first of all, these are not two military forces. This is a militarized occupier and an occupied people. And it's not a war because there's no idea about a military feat that can be achieved. Their goal is genocide, extermination. That's not a war. It's genocide. Inspired by traditional poetry. Oh, okay. I read this in my head, but I didn't read it out loud. But inspired by the traditional poetry practice Zajal, which is found in many countries, especially in the Levant. Didn't know about it. That sounds really cool. I mean, Arabic is a very lyrical, beautiful language. It's like one of those languages I don't think I'll ever learn because I don't know, but maybe because it's very beautiful. It's very beautiful. So I can imagine it's perfectly suited for that. Young men that are under stable circumstances will be doing anything else, pursuing passions, goals, yeah, or even just be normal, like do a bunch of gaming, whatever. They have the right to pursue whatever they want, exactly. But they've had their families, homes, and dreams snatched from them by this genocidal colonial phase. Yes. Did you see Norman Hassan's stream the other day? Yes. A lot of what I'm saying, some of it is also what Norm was saying. I didn't finish it yet, but I love it. That's something that I really look up to about Norman Finkelstein is like, he doesn't care about that Ben Shapiro, like fast talking, like he is slow, he is methodical, he is there to explain his research, his truth, or the truth of a situation. And if he doesn't know something, he will not speak on it, but he will research and then he will explain. And I really respect that so much. And I that's like one of the things that what's it called? Like one of the values that I also really try to follow. That's also why, even though I try not to be like overly negative to AI, like that's one thing that I personally do. Like I need to do my research myself, because even if I use AI to like summarize articles, like it just doesn't stick the same way. Like I need to read it, I need to go through it, I need to move back and forth and make notes. Because that's how I can really understand facts a little bit better. And again, maybe one day AI will be better, less harmful to the environment, less captured by capitalist interests. But I respect Norm so much. He's just like an old-fashioned scholar, like the truth, science. That's what we uphold, and not this like, again, this bullshit lying that the right wing loves to do. Say I watched half of it earlier today. Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. I love it. Gotta be like my top two favorite guests, like Norman Finkelstein on and Hassan, and Yanis Varoufakis. Like both of them, I really appreciate them as scholars.
It is taking away that rationale. But in any case, Hamas doesn't really have much fight left. It is severely weakened, and its main supporter, Iran, is caught up in its own war in the Gulf. The current agreement would at least allow it to survive, albeit without political influence, and Hamas can spin that as a victory.
Yeah, there's still no word from Israel yet, though. Do you find that surprising?
Not especially. Reports are saying that the Trump administration Trump announced this new breakthrough.
The one he did with the other streamer the other week was painful. I'm trying to think if that's the one I watched. I think I watched something else by him, but I think it was like older. Okay, do you maybe have a link by any chance?
After consulting with Hamas,
I don't know if I
but not
watched that.
Israel. In fact, even
But I have been in the last couple of weeks. I have been like rewatching a lot of his like a couple months, like a year older, like lectures and things like that, because it's just. And what's actually really interesting, that of course he updates some of the things he talks about as things develop, but I think that if you watch a lot of his content, usually what it comes down to is like a couple of the same points again and again, and I think that is good, because at some point the truth is the truth, right? You don't need to change it or just for the sake of changing it. Thanks.
I'm going to test something very new on the broadcast. I have a guest. His name is Nick Paul. He hasn't been on the broadcast in quite a while. But he's back. He's in Los Angeles. All right, get in here.
Wait. Okay. I thought you meant
crazy.
I thought you meant that Norm went on another podcast. I remember him. What did I remember him from? Maybe I've seen him before. Nick Paul. I mean, the name sounds familiar. Nick Paul, is that what it was? What does he do? The AMC was painful. I did not watch this at all. I did not catch it. I don't really know. I mean, I know of this guy. I've seen him before. Oh, I think maybe I've seen a clip of him and who was it? I don't remember who, but I think I remember seeing a clip of him and someone else. I know he's playing the character with pretty dams. I mean, with this content, it looks like it. Yeah, I mean, it looks a little sloppy. It certainly looks a little sloppy, but I don't know. I guess. Oh yeah. I think I saw clips from this with Extra Emily, but I don't remember what. But I think that's what I saw him in most recently, and that's probably already 5 months ago. He was entirely unaware of anything at like late 30s. Yeah, it's giving. Yeah. But hey, even if it's like awkward and painful, if he's like, again, if they can like mutually or like he can expose his audience a little bit to Hassan, I guess it's a net positive. But he says he watches Hassan and Asma interchangeably. Unfortunately, I think that's at the same time, there's guys like him. There's just people like him that they're not like too like autism brained about politics or about, progressive stuff. And they are also not like, they're weirdly, they're kind of, I wouldn't even call them centrist because that's like too intentional. They're like, that's what it is. They're like really unintentional and not involved with politics. Even though, of course, it affects everyone. Like, he's a man, but he's also a black man. So in America, I'm sure he's aware of some politics, but he's not like literate about politics, I guess. I don't know. Like, if you watch Asmongold, that's kind of insane. But that's it. It's just like, hey, listen, I'm not gonna lie. Like, for me, Smosh is the type of content I watch when I just want to turn my brain off, just watch a couple people do a board game or whatever. But they're like very progressive, clearly, like super libbed up, I think for the most part, like probably pro-Palestinian, anti-ICE. So even then, it's like, even if I'm like turning my brain off to just put some stuff on, I'm not gonna watch Asmongold. That's insane, but whatever. In any case, hey, you win some, you lose some. Sometimes you get a Norm Finkelstein. Sometimes you get a what's his name, Nick Pollard. So you win some, you lose some.
Even though Trump and Netanyahu met in Washington
I
this
hope he
week, just a
grows
few
up.
days ago,
Yeah. I'm like, bro, please, you're in your late 30s. Please grow up. Please.
Israeli officials have said that they didn't talk about Gaza at all. And the relationship
Oh
between the
God.
US and Israel is
Millet jump scare, by the way. Speaking of growing up, like this haircut always stresses me out, dude. It is, and the sideburns. Oh God.
talk about Gaza at all. And the relationship between the US and Israel is a little strained right now, with Trump and Netanyahu disagreeing publicly about how to proceed with the war in Iran. But despite the lack of an official response, Israeli higher-ups have been telling the media that Israel will not withdraw from Gaza until Hamas is completely disarmed. And that could take a long time. But Trump is in the midst of re-energizing his 20-point plan from last year, and that requires that both disarmament and
He's a caricature of like the worst guy. Like just a guy that clearly wanted to be a rock star and do that shit, and for some reason he's in politics and he's making it everyone's problem.
withdrawal happened concurrently so that the International Stabilization Force and the new Palestinian police force can take over security.
And how could this be affected by other political developments in Israel?
Well, 2 weeks ago, Israel's defense and finance ministers announced new plans for 3 Israeli settlements in Gaza. This would not only be seen as illegal under international norms, but would directly contradict Trump's 20-point peace plan from October. Under the plan, Israel cannot occupy or annex Gaza and must eventually withdraw completely. Settlements imply a permanence that directly contradicts that. When showing support for Trump's plans in October, a joint statement from the foreign ministers of countries such as Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, and Qatar specifically praised the plan's provisions to prevent the displacements of the Palestinian people. They also highlighted President Trump's concurrent announcement that he would not allow the annexation of.
Millet, is that you? Oh my God. See, I hate to say it. This guy is actually like, he has the real estate, you know, he has the need for a sideburn, but this is kind of fun. This is like, you know how they say like beards are makeup for men? This is like giving that. This is like makeup for men. You're having fun with it. You're being creative. I don't know anything about this guy. He might just be like insane, or I guess maybe it's a series. Star Sideburn season 1. I guess it's a series. No cookie? I don't know, but I like him. Character from the show Community. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Millet is just, again, like he's just a mess. Where is he? Yeah, it's just like a big ball of like not committing to anything in particular, but just failing upwards, I guess.
They also highlighted President Trump's concurrent announcement that he would not allow the annexation of the West Bank. But as we've seen over the past year, Israel has been greatly expanding its settlements in the West Bank and reclassifying much of its land as state property.
And Matthew Mary, real quickly, what do you make of the timing of all this?
Well, we're 3 months away from midterm elections in the United States, and Republicans are trying to hold control of razor-thin majorities in Congress. And there's a new poll that just came out this week from Politico that shows that Trump's MAGA base is showing less and less support for the war. Just 2 months ago, 50% said they supported the war even if it costs higher prices in the United States. That has gone down 13 points to only 37%. Voters are really swayed by the cost of living and gasoline prices. And this, in Gaza, at least is somewhere that Trump can show he's making progress towards peace and towards assuaging the problems that afflict him in the Middle East.
In other news, Donald Trump says an agreement has been reached for the...
Hamas disarming would be the first concrete step. Okay. So let us... I would say, honestly, I want to kind of finish off with the reporting that Israeli strikes continue.
Israeli airstrikes have continued.
And then I'm probably going to start closing off the stream. We're going to hit 3 hours soon. And last Saturday I went for like 4 hours and that was too long. Or not too long, but like I don't know. It didn't work out. we can chat a little bit and yap. But as far as like news, yeah. All right, chat. All right. So yeah, let's talk about what I also was mentioning previously is that Gaza is still under attack and the Israeli strikes continue despite Trump's Gaza plan. Unfortunately, something we've seen time and time again. Israel just cannot hold to agreements because it's not what they want, it's not what they care about, and they know they can get away with it because of, everyone. The United States always has no issue joining Israel in whatever it's doing. Because it knows that Israel's doing what the United States wants. So, it's one and the same. Milei is a dude after 15 years of addiction. That's so true. Like, this would be like the idealized version. Like, this is what you could be. You could have fun in your life and, be a positive influence on your community, even just by having funny sideburns. But then he just goes down some weird path. He starts becoming friends with like Israelis that are a little bit too proud to talk about what they did in the military. And before he knows it, he's on the street, sideburns overgrown, piercing blue eyes, just filled with crazy energy. Real. West Bank incursions have been so horrific. Yeah. Sometimes it just, again, I try to cover the news. I try to stay on top of the news, but sometimes with the frequency that attacks are happening or other things, it's just it almost becomes just a blur of how much happens and how much of violence is done. It it is insane. Unfortunately I don't it's hard sometimes to really feel like I have adequate words for it because it's never going to be enough what I can say about it. What needs to happen is our governments need to take action to actually punish Israel, to hold people accountable, to not be allied or not be so happy to be allied to the United States. Definitely need to take an example out of Pedro Sanchez's a bare minimum is what Pedro Sanchez is doing. They do it on purpose, flood the cycle so no one issue is able to hold attention. Yeah, it's one of those things that it is important that it gets reported on, but unless it gets like the attention and the kind of deep dive and proper contextualization it deserves, it does get lost in the news cycle. Absolutely.
In Gaza, despite the US president's announcement of a plan to disarm Hamas and get Israeli forces to pull out of the Strip. Well, Friday's attacks across Gaza killed at least 2 Palestinians and wounded more than 10 others. Skies lit up from the explosions as Israel dropped bombs on Nusayrat refugee camp, targeting a residential building. Earlier, Israeli shelling hit a warehouse storing medical supplies for Al-Aqsa Hospital in Deir al-Balah. Trump announced that draft agreement through his Board of Peace for Gaza. Under the deal, Hamas will give up its weapons and the Israeli military withdraw completely from Gaza. Trump says all parties have agreed to the plan.
Israel's very happy about it. Israel helped us with it. And they've been very good. They've been very good about it. Most people said that would be a deal that would be undoable. Now, will it go through its ups and downs? It's a very complex.
Fucking shit stain, dude. I hate seeing him. In the Norm Finkelstein interview that Hassan did, the way that Norm Finkelstein was talking about Donald Trump, like, listen, I'm not a proponent of using the R slur, but Norm was just in a single breath. He just said like, Donald Trump, the R slur ape, and then it was just. I guess he's from a different time, but god damn. Yeah, but it's I have the same feelings of like hatred towards this guy. This guy is just so dumb. Like, and again, what he and his party represent, it is just so violent. It's so stupid. It's short-sighted. It's it's genocidal. They are completely complicit in this genocide.
Situation
and these fucking freaks, Pete Hegseth and Marco Rubio, freaks, man. Freaks. This is just like Hitler and his two, like, I don't know, fucking top advisors sitting next to him. I was just talking about how history will look back, just as how we are looking back on the Second World War and the brave Jewish people that, whether it changed the outcome or not, like brave Jewish people that resisted, that did what they could to not succumb to Nazi extermination. And maybe in those days they spoke about those resistance fighters in the exact same way that we are speaking right now about the Palestinian resistance. Hitler, Himmler, and Goebbels. Fucking nasty. But yeah, the way we are speaking right now about the Palestinian resistance, if we're talking about analyzing history, analyzing how we speak about history now, one can only hope that history will correct the way that the Palestinian resistance fighters are being spoken about right now. Because not only do they not deserve it, it's just not the truth. Just like prosecuted Jewish people did what they could, that's what Palestinian resistance fighters are doing as well. And these motherfuckers, in that same breath, hopefully history will adequately describe some, or be able to describe some of the actions they have done to paint a picture about how much violence they unleashed on this world. And again, history will absolve the Palestinian resistance fighters and put these men in their place alongside some of the other worst people that have existed in history.
The people are very complex and difficult. Many cases wonderful, in many cases not so wonderful. But that will be it's a great breakthrough. Nobody thought that would be possible, to disarm.
So, I mean, yeah, we just called them Hitler, Himmler, and Goebbels, but this can also be like, like I said, fucking a bad chili shit stain in the toilet. This guy is like, I don't know, what can we do with him? Like a liver failure Larry. And this guy is like a reactionary Cuban idiot. I don't know. I don't want to get too fancy now, but these are just like the pretense of sitting in this office with these mighty flags and these, this is Camp David, and oh my goodness, the historic significance. These are great men. They are far from it. They're so incompetent. They do not deserve to lead a country like the United States. Like, the United States deserves a leader that will actually represent its people and not for like the worst kind of people. I know they train their poker faces. Every now gets close to winces from the smell. I didn't even finish that sentence, and I was like, yeah, they need to train their face, because if Trump fucking lets one out again or he shits his pants, they need to control, no emotion. But god damn it, man. They're like, for him, there's like no light behind his eyes. For him, there's like just pure rage and like inadequacy behind those eyes. And like, I don't know. And him, I don't know, man, he's just pathetic. Like, he wants to do anything else with this.
Hamas. That shows you how much success we're having with Iran. Because if you go 4 months ago, 5 months ago, a deal like that would have been impossible. So it's a big step for the Middle East, and people are really impressed by it, and they're surprised by it.
Well, Hani Mahmoud joins us now live from Gaza City. So, Hani, what does it mean for Gazans when not only their residences, even medical supplies can be bombed during what's supposed to be a ceasefire?
So, I mean, the word ceasefire has become largely disconnected with the daily reality of people's
Trump has
life.
absolutely nothing behind his eyes. Yeah. But hey, maybe if you ask him about Phantom of the Opera, it will have a little twinkle, like a little glimmer. That kind of like, oh, there is something I could love in this world without seeking to destroy everything else. And then it dims again and he's gone forever. Like it's like a fucking dementia patient. No offense to people that actually have dementia, but it's like a dementia patient like being, cognizant for a second before going back to, the horrific consequences of the disease. But yeah, Trump has nothing going on.
Here. In the conventional sense, the word ceasefire implies safety, end of hostilities, hospitals to function properly, aid to reach those who are in need. But that's not the experience that people have been going through, not just the past 9 months of supposedly ceasefire and end of hostility, but also the past almost for nearly 3 years of genocidal acts here. Just last night, series of attacks across the Gaza Strip, residential buildings, public facilities, as well as a medical supplies warehouse at Al-Aqsa Hospital in Deir al-Balah city, filled with necessary supply that are needed for the kidney patients inside the hospital and other basic necessities. And by the way, the hospital, not just Al-Aqsa Hospital, across the Strip, health facilities are under immense pressure. And according to the health ministry, according to medical missions that have been operating across the Strip, there is a serious need for medical supplies to enter in a sufficient amount so doctors can function properly, operate on patients properly. That's not the case. When you see health facilities being attacked, damaged and destroyed, and this is not the first time we've seen these direct attacks on health facilities, it limits the work of doctors, limits doctors in the way they provide treatments, in the way they save lives, and most of the time anything that is treatable ends up being hard to treat and leads to human loss. And that's exactly what's going on with these attacks. When it comes to residential buildings, many of the people last night had nowhere to go. Some decided to stay.
Context for the sample of the song later. Oh, dude, I've been seeing a lot of TikToks from this. Okay, I'm excited.
Where they ended being critically injured simply because there is no shelter available for them. On a psychological level, the impact is profound. The fact that people cannot plan weeks ahead. They're worried about just going through the next day or the next few hours, just giving the unpredictable attacks. Perhaps the most critical part here is it erodes any sense of confidence here. Every time we talk about an agreement, and by the way, we are at the height of negotiations now, violence continues to happen and just erodes any sense of confidence in any diplomacy to succeed.
Indeed. This, again, this is something we'll keep an eye on, we'll watch unfold, because as it stands right now, everyone has absolutely no confidence in Trump, in Israel. That's for certain. All right, I think as far as news, I think that's where I'm going to cap it at. But chat shared me some cool stuff we can watch here. So this is Files. Oh, I guess I don't have like explanation maybe, but so what'd you say here? It was by an Australian. Let's see. New song from a Palestinian Australian artist. Okay. Inspired by the traditional poetry practice Zajal that is found in many countries. Okay, so yeah, I did know about this actually. No, I didn't know the name, but I had seen it. The Jahal battle in Palestine is a traditional poetic performance where two or more poets compete. Yeah, it's fucking awesome. I can find the Insta reel from the artist talking about the song real quick. Oh, that would be awesome. Like, in the meantime, let's watch this.
أنا دويري بالشعر أنا دويري بالفكر رايح لعند النسر يجيني لو إنه طيار لك لسه بعدك في الرية أو لو توقع بإيدي حجمك بحجم الكنية يا جاي تحاور للإعصار أي فعلا أنا في بتدري بحجمي وباسمي وقدري لا يمكن توصل خصري لو تركب 16 قطار يا عراني العراني واسمعني بميداني ما بيتعدى سيقاني مهما يطول عنده الامطار انا لما
I don't know, man. I don't know what this guy's name is, but I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. But yeah, this is awesome. I've seen a couple different clips. I think I've even seen not this one, but like of these guys. I think I've seen it before, but it's mesmerizing. It's like so melodic. It's yeah, it's fantastic. So this is the Instagram talking about it. I've seen her before.
This is Zajal.
والأرض المقدسية عادي نفديها بالأرواح روضت بفني ترويضة وأعطيته شعر وعارضة.
So, Zajal is a centuries-old Palestinian tradition of improvised poetry, but in a way that is sung. So you can say it's the equivalent to a rap battle. Two uncles will come into the ring and start taking digs at each other and talking about things like their social life, love, country, and also resistance. While I was discovering this tradition that I had zero idea about as a Palestinian, I was incredibly inspired as someone who loves writing poetry and loves turning that into music. I wanted to take that, give it to my producers, and tell them, respectfully, make this into a hood trap song ASAP. Centuries old tradition with a Gen Z Palestinian. This is what comes out. This is Zajal.
I'm trying to hear her accent. I guess she's from America. But let's see here. So this is it. Fearless. I hope it has lyrics. Wait. I need to find Serene, Fearless, lyrics. What's this? Is this it? What? Or is this it? No. Anyway, guys, I'll listen real closely then. So of course I don't speak Arabic, so I don't know what she's saying here. Awesome. Kind of oh shit. I really like that second English verse. I feel like it should have been first. It was like really bam, really powerful. Is there a description on Spotify? Raised in Jordan, Palestine, Australia. Oh, that's cool. That honestly even reminds me. I mean, I love a good like cultural mashup, mixing things up. And that can be anything, right? It can be from growing up in this neighborhood, growing in that neighborhood, or your family comes from here, but you grew up somewhere else. Like it can be so many different types of mixings up of like cultural references. But I think I was also watching a TikTok recently, and it was like, I think it was like it was at a club, but I think it was like Iraqi music together with like Caribbean music. It was just like I was transcending just listening to it. I had to be there. But I love like cultural sounds, influencing each other, making something new. I mean, Portuguese music, fado, famously also is a mashup of a lot of different influences. Portuguese fado music is a mashup of Northern Arabic, Northern African, like Arabic influences. It's an influence of like traveler culture, like Romani, like the G word, like gypsy culture. Like it's a Portuguese background as well, but it's like it's all of those influences coming together to create something that is now like like quintessential Portuguese music. But if you hear it, you can really hear like the Arabic influences. I think it's fantastic. And this is not fado, but it's like again mixing all of these different cultural expressions, like in sound and all this stuff, in political experience. I think that's awesome. I think that always adds such a nice touch, um, such a nice, such a nice touch, such a nice expression. I don't know. Cool. Thanks for sharing, Chatter. I love it. It's perfect. I kind of needed it too. Like talking about what Palestinians are going through, you can honestly almost not help but become a little pessimistic. And I don't want to become pessimistic, but we have to talk about what is happening and yeah, understand things. Yeah. You know, yeah, I think people understand, but at the same time people also don't understand. So the least we can do is continue to resist, continue to explain people to stand up and to do try to fight. Pessimism is the intellect, optimism of the will. Yeah. I mean, I think it's good to have a healthy dose of both. I think, there's such a thing as like revolutionary optimism. Like I am fundamentally revolutionary optimistic. Like if I look at the history of things, like people that are oppressed will inevitably demand change and fight for it and get that change because it's it's what people believe in most truthfully. But, I think it would be short-sighted not to express that there's also a lot of pessimism that comes from staying on top of how things are really going. Can't remember who the quote is attributed to. We can give it a little Google. It says here. Wait, let me change. Center of optimism. Who said, "Am I pessimist because of intelligence, but optimist because of will"? Gramsci? Oh, okay. Pessimism of the intellect. Oh, God damn it. So where's the quote? Show me the quote. Why is it? Pessimism is a famous guiding maxim popularized that pairs a clear-eyed, unvarnished. Oh, okay. Oh, I guess maybe it's not the exact wording, or is it? Yeah, it is. Oh, okay. I didn't copy it with a comma. Pessimism of the intellect, optimism of the will. Nice. Gramsci. There you go. Meaning to be critically aware of your circumstance, but optimistic in the resistance outlook. Yeah, you have to. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like especially when I was a little bit younger, not too much, because I honestly sometimes still process things this way, but because I have so much experience with volleyball and like being in a team and really fighting for it, and but also having fun. And so I think it makes perfect sense. Like, you need to be always on guard and attentive to the fact that if you don't do anything, things will go very, very wrong and not at all the way you want to. You know that. But at the same time, you do have a lot of optimism because you can change the outcome of things if you act, if you do things. Even if you try and fail, you can learn. And there's no such thing as like making a mistake if you choose to learn from it. So, totally, dude. Like, again, I feel pessimistic because, and again, this is something that Norman Finkelstein talked about with Hassan. You probably also saw this part because I think it was at the beginning, but you know, trying to find like historic parallels and historic comparisons for what the people in Palestine are going through. And on the one hand, comparing it to, is it going to be comparable to the emancipation or the oppression and subsequent emancipation of Black people? Or is it comparable to the oppression and genocide that Native American people faced in the United States? And that's, yeah, we don't know that yet. But I guess that is, again, intellect, the pessimism of the intellect, knowing that things will get worse if you don't try, if you don't do anything, and optimism of the will, you know, getting the burst of energy from the fact that if I act, if I do something, that is when change happens. Meaning to be critically, yeah, nice. Thank you for sharing. This is actually a good way to bring it back, to bring it home. And I think I'm gonna kind of end the broadcast. I don't know if this is abrupt, but a friend of mine, I think, needs my presence. He's going through something, so I wanna be there. But about the stream today, usually I try to kind of come in with a topic and a theme, you know, good old book report vibes, but it kind of helps me as I go through all of the news and really land on like, hey, what can we really take from this stream, if anything, right? So my topic for today, as I decided based on reading the news and my research, is the topic, you know, it's a bit of a broader thing. The theme is a bit more specific. So the topic would be international networks of political allies. And the theme today that I landed on is the right-wing international network. Or sorry, let me actually just get my notes. That's why I make them. Yeah, and the theme would be like the destructive, violent, right-wing international networks, and that it is very clear who are its allies and what are its interests. And just adding a couple more sentences to the theme is that opposite, and that, you know, its interests are opposition to progressive / left-wing politics, and that they are in this situation also really focused on not allowing any deviation from US-led decisions or allow any critique of Israel and its genocide. But, you know, the topic for today's stream, international network of political allies. While today we focused a lot on the right-wing element, the left-wing element is also present, although it might sometimes not be as visible because there's just simply not as many billionaire or leftist billionaire owned media and all that stuff, right? It's just not what it is. And the billionaires that we do have, they are under threat of being extradited from Spain to the United States. So the leftist international network of political allies looks a bit different. But fortunately, it involves a lot of organizing, canvassing, people that have truly held beliefs based on the good of humanity and the belief in the truth, the belief in science, the belief in progressive, inclusivity, but the rejection of absolute tolerance and the rejection of fascism, right? Because we are not centrists, we are not liberals. We know what it means to be inclusive without also including Nazis. And sometimes those networks can feel a bit invisible, right? Leftist allies, or it can feel like we're constantly under attack. And we are. But we are here. And that right-wing network of allies is very afraid of it. That's why in situations like this, even if it's unwarranted, all of the right-wing network comes alive to try and push down leftist success. Even, the center left, or, left, whatever progressive left-wing variety that Pedro Sanchez represents. So I think what I want you guys to take away from this is, your contribution, your action, your optimism of the will matters. And your pessimism of intellect, your ability to understand that if you don't act, things will get worse, is a good thing. So that's what I kind of want to reflect back to you guys. And we had a lot of people coming in and out of the chat today, as per usual. I think that's very special, and I appreciate that a lot. I've been feeling really good about the streams, and again, consistency is key. So I just want to stay consistent and keep improving things and give you guys good analysis, good quality analysis, so that you guys can also, maybe you don't always have the time to look at everything in the news or to do deep dives, but hopefully I give you some things you can take with you and look at things in a more clear way. And maybe if someone talks about it, you can explain things to them in a more accurate way, contextualize things better than some of the news media that we see. But guys, that's going to be it for me today. Thank you so much for checking out the broadcast. As per usual, we'll be back on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Western European time, so like UK, Portugal, and at 7 p.m. Central European time. Is that correct? Is that right? Like Netherlands, Spain, that sort of thing. So we'll be back, and otherwise we'll be back Saturday, same time, same place. Don't forget to follow me on my Instagram, and if you want to watch the VOD from this stream, please do. You can do it on my YouTube VOD channel, Finami VODs. I think it's Finami now. I changed it. Same name on YouTube. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me today, guys. So I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for the support. Thank you for checking out the broadcast. And we'll be back for some more stuff very soon. Bye, chatters. Bye. Bye, chat.